This is Les McCurdy, McCurdy's Comedy Theater, Sarasota, Florida. We're sitting in the green room behind the stage where the comics hang out before they go up on stage. As a matter of fact, you can walk from the green room just right onto the stage. It sits in the middle of the stage, and on the other side is the box office. And what you're going to hear is the conversation that the comics naturally have during the performance. That's what this is all about. It's not an interview. It's not a performance. It's just our conversation. Same as you sitting around with your friends, and it could go anywhere. It could be chaotic. It could go all over the place. It could be very specific. And remember, we're not experts on anything either. We're just having a nice conversation. That's what we do in the green room. That's what you want to be a part of, and we hope you enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the conversation. This is a conversation from McCurdy's Green Room. This is Les McCurdy. And remember, it's not an interview. It's just a conversation. You're just going to catch what we talk about. And Mike over here, who is our producer, he's here every week. And he'll chime in every once in a while. Our headliner's not here yet, but he'll be here soon, John Dicrosta. But Tiffany Barbee's here, who is our feature act this week. And Tiffany's one of our local Tampa Bay elite. Very nice. Yes. And your first time, at least as a middle act here. So it's
it's very exciting. Yeah. I've kind of just hung around long enough, and now I'm here.
Well, it takes more than just hanging around. I can tell you that. But so we were like I say, it's just a conversation. Matter of fact, we were in a conversation about Louis C.K. And then talking about Weinstein and Bill Cosby and how
all associated somehow.
Yeah, well, just how you were saying that.
Yeah, we've gone down in the dark road.
Yeah.
Dark road.
But you were just saying how they're. Well, Bill Cosby was an attractive guy. Weinstein's not, and he uses his power. But we were just talking about they didn't need to be creepy about it.
Yeah, they didn't need to be creepy, but they were using what they had. Like, obviously, they weren't attractive. I mean, no. Weinstein. So he thought, you know what? I have power. I have money. Sure. I can give these women a job. So I'm going to use that and then see if it gets me some action and attention. And that's all I have because, look, my hair's gone.
But he's creepy. Because so that just shows here was a guy that was obviously super smart, very very successful in one way, but in another part, when it came to women and relationships, very unsophisticated, very unsure of himself, very to do what he did his way. Because I was you're talking about the unattractiveness, power. Is attractive.
It is. And, I like power.
Well, Barbara Walters, I remember this back in the day when she was younger. She was a pretty attractive woman. I mean, she was and she was dating Kissinger. Oh, Henry Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger, yeah.
And Henry Kissinger is not an attractive man. No, I mean, he's a weird-looking guy. But at that time, he was Secretary of State of the United States. Super powerful. And I remember somewhere she was in an interview, they asked her about when she dated him and kind of the thing of, you're a really attractive, powerful woman yourself, brilliant, powerful, attractive. What was the attraction? She goes, power. Yeah. Power is an aphrodisiac.
Right.
To some people. I guess, in that case.
I agree, and you're right about Weinstein. Yeah, he used those things, but he could have found someone who wanted to be with him as opposed to forcing it.
Of course he
could. To come to him.
I don't think he was into that, though. I think he liked the forceful nature of things. That's the fucked up part.
I think that part of it too was the type of woman. I mean, in other words, if he's going to come on to Gwyneth Paltrow. Well, she's also powerful.
Right.
And so, some of the women, and it's, I think the same way with Cosby, some of the women they were going after were women that they knew were not going to play their game.
Right. They set the bar too high.
That's right.
They got to knock that bar down.
That's right. They went, you can go for beauty, but beauty and brilliance No.
Right.
If they're beautiful and brilliant, you're probably not going to get that one,
Right. They have to be more realistic. But I wonder, sometimes I think people might have been more attractive when they were younger, so then they got used to being like, I can get those women. And when they get older, they don't sense that they're older and that they aren't as attractive. And then they go for that still. And then
that's
the women
men,
are like,
Tiffany. We're ridiculous. I do that on stage. We're ridiculous. Women get older and they get self-conscious. Men get older and think they're hotter than they've ever been in their life, and they're older and they're paunchy and they're gray, and they just think
let it all hang out.
They just think, man, that 25-year-old over there is after my ass. And I go, that 25-year-old wouldn't have been after your ass when you were 25 years old. You crazy idiot.
That's exactly right.
I was just watching your show last night, and just on the age thing. When you said your age, I was a little thrown back.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I really thought you were more maybe late 20s. And when you said you were 35, I go, damn, she could pass for... I mean, you could pass for 18 if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think I look better than I did in high school. Like, if I look at the yearbook, I figured it out. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm 63 and I look better than I did in high school.
Right.
Oh, yeah, way better.
You get your style figured out, right? But yeah, I know, because I always think maybe I shouldn't say my age on stage. I mean, I do it to make a point, but then I think, you know what? I'm probably a better investment to, on the comedy scene. That's why a lot of entertainers don't say how old they are, and I shouldn't, because they'll be like, oh, I think Tiffany's 23, so I'm going to invest more energy into helping Tiffany out. Not that I need help, but I feel like it's probably a better thing to do for bookers and stuff to think.
Well, when you said it last night, just from me sitting in my place and watching my audience, and we all know here in Sarasota our audience is skew a little older. My crowd is 45 to 75 is my average group. But when you said you were 35, whether you realize this or not, I'm telling you, most of the people in the audience went, what? No way. Yeah. They're thinking, I thought she was 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether you can do anything with that comedically, because I'm telling you, they're not thinking you're 35 years old.
Well, when I get out there, I do say how they use, about how I'm on Catch the Predator, even though I'm not. And they use me as the bait girl, and that's kind of a reference to it. But
that's pretty funny.
Well, maybe you could tie that in closer to your age. You know what I mean? If you wanted to. Because that was something I went, that was a little thing there that, like I say, little, I don't think people would guess you at that age, guess you at 35.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I dress really young. I don't do it on purpose. It's just that, I don't fit in,
just the way
adult
you
clothes.
look.
I don't fit in adult clothes.
My wife,
I don't fit in adult clothes.
My wife, Pam, always looked 10 years younger than she is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Ever since I started dating her, she was 21, and I looked like I was dating a 15, 16-year-old. I mean, and literally, she was getting carded when she was in her 30s, and I bet you do too, even back. So the thing is that that's a great thing, because you'll always look 10 years younger.
Yeah, I hope so. It's funny, Bob Burr, that book Snappers. Him and I, we used to have past the Universal Studios, and of course when you go there, you're wearing little shorts and and Bob Burr's like, I feel people probably are looking at me like, what the world? Because there's one time when I had a big cotton candy in my hand. And I had a stuffed animal in the other hand, and he's like, God. Oh my God, you need to go away from me. He's like,
I think that you could do that on stage almost. You have a friend that you go, yeah, I've got friends that look like Les. We hang out, I got cotton candy and a lollipop, and they're like, Jesus.
Chris Hansen keeps popping out and asking questions.
That is so funny.
And I can't remember. Do you do a bit on your name?
I do. It's really hard for me because I feel like there's a lot of stuff, because I used to be a pageant kid, and there's so many, my martial arts, I know I can dig deeper, but doing just a feature set, it's hard to dig deeper because you can go on for 10 minutes on one subject, and next thing you know, you're done.
Well, the thing is, when you there's certain things to me that are just kind of as an audience member, I know when you see certain names, a name or a look, and they walk out and they don't acknowledge it. Yeah. And you go, Tiffany Barbee, really? Like, I guarantee a lot of people are going, that is not her real name. There's no way.
I'll be honest,
I get so worried. Sometimes when I introduce myself to other comedians, I'm like, that's my real name. I'm not a jerk or a weird girl that was like, it'd be funny if I make my last name Tiffany Barbee.
I'm so glad that the truth.
Like it is, because what a terrible human being would I be if I was like, I'm going to use the stage name Barbie.
And not just Barbie. You're a Tiffany Barbee. I mean, like, you're a collectible. Do you understand that? You are a collectible.
I know.
Have you gotten the Tiffany Barbie? I haven't taken it out of the box.
The
I'm not going to either.
Exactly,
Another Tiffany Barbie. We're retiring on our 5 Tiffany Barbies,
Exactly. Well, it's so funny because my mom, actually just a year ago, she said to me, she goes, well, you're lucky. I almost named you Silver. She almost named me Silver Barbie.
That's rough.
I was like, you should not be allowed to have children.
No.
They should test you before you have a
failed
child.
the name test, Mom. Jeez.
Silver. And then obviously she had me in pageants, but some of the other girls in the pageant, one of my best friends in the pageant's name was Cookie. So I was like, I'm just glad I'm not her. I'm glad I'm not Cookie.
Well, you could have named you too on the. Something's on the Barbie.
On the Barbie.
But it's just one of those, when you have that kind of a name or look, it's usually like an easy one-liner, kind of a thing, because people are already thinking it in their head. They're already looking at that name going, is that a real name? They're thinking.
Yes,
and then
that's my real name.
No. And it's, of course, it's the obvious stripper joke.
Yeah, see, I used to say, that's what I used to say, is that I was like, oh, I know it sounds like a stripper name. And, Snappers used to be is across the street from a strip club, and that was, my first, my MC place that I got going at. So I would always make a comment about, oops, I ended up on the wrong side of the street or whatever.
Right.
It was funnier, but I can't remember now how I did it.
Yeah, it's weird how that works.
What's that old thing about you take your first pet and the street you grew up on, and that's your porn name or your lesbian?
Yeah, mine would make no sense if that's the case. Mine would be Sage Osprey.
Sage.
I don't know. That's a pretty good porn name. It's not bad.
Sage Osprey.
Mine's Charmin Pyron.
Charmin Byron.
That sounds like
Ron Modell walking. Come on, buddy, get over here. Well, Kathy's here too, but we're doing a podcast. But it's okay. Yeah, we sit down.
Yeah,
sit down.
Yeah.
Sit over there, Kathy. Kathy and Ron Modell just came in. Ron is a comic that works here quite often. He's our resident joke teller. He can tell more jokes than anyone that we know, and was a trumpet player until it still boggles my brain that you don't play the trumpet anymore, even just in the bathroom for the hell of it. Just something, I would just think that many years of having your mouth on something, you would have had to, but no.
Opening it up to
by the way, we just started this podcast a few weeks ago, and it's not an interview podcast. It's just a conversation. We're basically it'd be just like you just walked in here, and we're just chatting. And Tiffany is from Tampa, and we've known Tiffany for a long time. Watched her grow. She's come in, done guest sets, and and we felt like that she was ready. That we wanted to. This is her first time middling. Wow. Yeah, and we're excited about it. But you've been now. How many years are you? You're.
What, middling?
No, just
doing
in.
It, 9 years.
Okay.
I should be better. Let's be honest.
I want to show you something that I received in the mail a few days ago that is so appropriate and so touching.
What do you got?
Quincy Jones.
Oh.
Quincy Jones.
They're good friends.
Right, I remember it last night.
I want you to take a look at it and see if you think it's worthy of reading on the air.
Absolutely. Enough of I, me, my. You want me to read it? You want to read
go ahead.
it?
No, you.
Okay. Enough of I, me, my. It's time to try the path of we, us, and our. We, us, and our. If you can see it, you can. If you can see it, you can be it. Make each and every day a celebration filled with love and unity. Love Quincy and the entire Jones family. So did he just?
In the middle, what does it show you?
Oh, it's Quincy. It's a profile silhouette of Quincy, and you have the Buddhist, the Islamic, the Christian, the Jewish, and the I'm not sure. Is that Hindu? Is that Hindu? This one?
I'm not sure.
That's sad that
Scientology.
Is that Scientology? No. I would think so. It's like that come together.
Yes,
yeah,
like we
coexist.
Remember years ago when he got all of those singers together?
Yeah.
We are the world.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think now at this time with what's happening, he felt that he had to do it again.
Oh, good.
And so I think he did a mass mailing of these.
Oh, cool.
Which is really nice.
And Ron got to know Quincy and because tell the story about the phone call.
Well, I had conducted a little bit for Quincy in 1996 at the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Right.
And I was his assistant. And then 1997, I got a call one day on my phone machine, and when I came home, I flipped it on and it said, "Ronnie, where's your ass? I need you now." And it was Quincy.
But wasn't there before you ever met him, the first time?
Oh, the first time.
What, didn't he call the house or something and to talk to you? Didn't he get his name? I was thinking he got your name from Phil Collins.
From Phil Collins. We had done
because they had worked together.
Phil Collins was a guest artist on that particular show.
Right.
Along with Patty Austin and Shaka Khan and
right.
Steelman. And when Phil Collins heard my big band from Northern Illinois University,
right.
excuse me, he had decided that he wanted to do a 2-month tour of the United States and Europe, especially Europe during July when all the jazz festivals.
Right.
And he did not want to sing. He wanted to play drums again like he did in Genesis.
He wanted to be like Buddy Rich for a minute.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And he loved Buddy Rich.
Oh, he was the guy.
So yeah, he called Quincy to have me call him to get a band together. Now, he had his own rhythm section, which travels with him all the time.
Got you.
And when he does these big tours, he has his own 2 trumpets and a trombone called the Vine Street Horns, who are 3 of the best brass players in all of LA, and they'll stop whatever they're doing. They've been on American Idol, they've been on Dancing with the Stars, but Phil Collins calls them, he's got dibs.
Right.
So they came along, and it was a fantastic tour. It was one where the band, and in my 65 years of playing professionally, I never saw this happen, where the band, we'd play a 2-hour and 15-minute set every night with no intermission. We had Oleta Adams, a great singer from Kansas City,
awesome.
in the middle. But this band couldn't wait for the next night to come so they could play again.
Nice.
And that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of love between the players and admiration of each of the people you're sitting next to, I never had it in my career. And then to boot, when we were doing the jazz festivals, for instance, when we were in Holland at The Hague, an hour before the performance, sitting in the dressing room area, one of my ex-students who was in the band came up and said, "Look who came to see us tonight." And there were 5 people standing off to the side, and I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's Earth, Wind, and Fire."
Nice.
Oh my God.
10 minutes later, another student of mine came up and said, "That's Tower of Power." And then later, Cubanissimo, who took Irakiri's place in Cuba. And one night when we were in Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen, I looked off to my left because I was the last trumpet player on the left before the wings, and there was Tony Bennett sketching me.
Wow.
Nice.
And the capper was when we played, the only indoor venue we played on that whole tour was in Paris at the Rex Theater. And Phil Collins knocked on our dressing room door and he said, "Hey guys, some of the Rolling Stones are here. They want to meet you guys."
Nice.
That was it. Couldn't top it.
No.
Holy shit.
That's incredible. Well, you know. So you were talking about that camaraderie.
Yeah.
So like when you played in the Dallas Symphony, you did have that kind of camaraderie.
Well,
I would think it'd have to be a team effort.
But it's like the 3 teams that you have in the NFL.
Yeah.
You have the offense, the defense, and the special.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the offensive team was undoubtedly the brass section. Okay. The defensive team, the woodwind section. Okay. And then the special team all the string players. In a symphony orchestra, you have 90 or 100 people. 60 of them are string players.
Right.
And they all feel as though the people who are in the woodwind brass section is one on a part. Here you've got 12 on a part.
Right.
And they always kind of, I mean, I'd say good morning, everybody, and not everybody in the string section would return.
A little haughty, the strings. A little uppity, the strings.
and then when we tried to extend our seasons by making Pops concerts, in which we featured Ray Price and Engelbert Humperdinck and, you know, a symphony orchestra playing for the 4 freshmen or something, then it really got hard because this music was way above the kind of music they should be playing.
Right, right.
But then they came to realize that that put money in their pocket.
Sure.
Because we only had a 25-week season in Dallas when I started. When I left, it was up to 35 weeks. Now it's 52.
Right, right. Because we were talking about that, and I think I'd asked you because, you know, when you go to the symphony here and you think, well, is that a year-round job? I mean, is it are they making enough money playing in the Sarasota Symphony Orchestra to support themselves, or do they have to move around? And
it's my understanding they have about 46 or 48 what you'd call core players,
right,
who sign a contract for I don't know how many weeks, 30, 32, I don't know what it is. And then each concert they engage musicians on a per service basis.
Sure.
So that they actually end up doing at least 35 weeks. Or 30
so somebody who's got a 35-week contract, okay, that's a really solid pro kind of person, what are they getting 6 figures?
Oh, no, not near.
No.
No.
50,000?
If you're talking about the New York Philharmonic or Cleveland or Boston, yes.
Yes, okay. But
over 6 figures, yeah.
Okay.
150, 200,000.
Right.
That's 52-week season.
Yes.
With 8 weeks vacation.
Yeah, they're year round. Yeah, exactly. But in a symphony,
Sarasota, these people have to run from one engagement to another one at a church or at a theater or at a ballet or at I don't know.
Damn, they're like comics.
That's what I was thinking. They're just trying to get that gig.
Except they got to carry a case with them.
Yeah.
They got to bring something.
Believe me, I know that whole scene because in Dallas we only had 25 weeks when I started. And you had to hustle for any job you could.
Wow.
To supplement your income. So, yeah.
Nice.
But it's a great orchestra in Sarasota.
Oh yeah.
When you hear them play, they're magnificent.
Oh, they are magnificent. We were just talking about today just the how what a spectacular city it is. You know, and I just go on and on about being the best tropical city in the world because
cultural.
That's right. Because we have the beauty, we have the Caribbean beaches and everything, but we have the amenities. I go, there's a lot of beautiful places that are tropical, but not with a symphony and an opera and a ballet that are all fantastic.
Van Wezel, which brings in
top-notch. Which they're getting ready to tear it down.
I can't believe that.
Really?
Well, they got to go more. The 1,800 seats is limiting.
Oh, they're gonna make it bigger.
Yes, they need to make it bigger and safer. When they built Van Wezel, it's one of the few, and Ruth Eckert has this too. There's no center aisleways.
Right. Yes, that's so obnoxious.
Well, it's not
Fire
safe.
hazard.
It's not safe.
Fire hazard.
And so nowadays, I understand whatever they're going to do. One, they got to get, with the way the population's booming here, I mean, I'm sure they'll go at least 5,000 seats. I would suggest 10, personally, but
acoustically, I don't know how you could really make a concert hall.
10,000. 10,000 is too much.
Well, when I started in Dallas, we played at the State Fair Music Hall, which was 4,000.
Right.
And it was the second largest stage only to Radio City Music Hall.
Right.
And to play in an auditorium of 4,000, the acoustics has to be so perfect because so many bodies.
Well, from a financial standpoint of view, it's like you can't, if you're just doing that and that's what you're building it for, just for mainly for for touring Broadway shows, for the symphony, and that sort of stuff. Yeah. But if you want to branch out and start getting big pop artists, you need 10,000 seats.
Right.
5,000 ain't going to do it. And so I think they would limit themselves. I don't know there seems like there should be a way that you could build a 10,000 seat venue and be able to pull it down to 3,000 or 4,000 seats in a way that acoustically works for that type of presentation. You know what I mean? I don't know. It seems like there should be a way.
We had an auditorium in Dallas, a municipal auditorium that held 10,000. And when we had Henry Mancini come to guest conduct and play,
right,
the 10,000 filled up immediately.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
We know that.
It will.
It will.
But you're just saying the sound quality you're not going to get.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. It's just.
But will the people it just won't be for the people that didn't pay enough money that are in the back? Will the people up close still be able to hear it nicely acoustically, or it just affects everybody?
Everybody.
Wow.
Everybody. And really, it's amazing to think that when you're sitting, for instance, the Sarasota Orchestra rehearses in Holly Hall.
Right.
Okay. When you go from Holly Hall to the stage of Van Wezel or Neil, your whole perspective of what you've been rehearsing all week changes.
Sure.
Totally.
Sure.
Now you can hear these people, but you can't hear these people.
Right. Well, it's the same dynamic we were just talking earlier. One of the ways that I get major celebrities here is because major celebrities are playing 2,000 to 5,000 seat venues, okay? Well, when you do that, when you deliver a joke at Van Wezel or Ruth Eckerd Hall, you have to wait. You deliver the joke, you have to stand there and wait for your sound to go to the back wall. Everybody get it. Laughter comes back. So it's ponderous, because if you went at club pace, you'd be talking over everything constantly. And so that's that same kind of thing. All of a sudden you get in this big hall, and if you're not used to it, you'll be talking over your act like crazy if you're going at your same pace, because you're not allowing the time for the sound to get back to you, you know. And that's the reason when you're working a set for a television show, you need to be in a club, because in clubs the reaction's immediate. Right. It's pow, it's right there. And that's what it's going to be when you're watching it on television. It's immediate, you know. Yeah. So your timing for TV and club is the same. You can't do it in a theater. 2,000, your timing is all off.
The size of the hall, and I'll never forget this. In 1958, I played at the biggest hotel in the Catskill Mountains. It was called the Concord. It could have 3,500 guests. So the opening of the big room, which held 3,500 seats, I thought they made the biggest mistake on hiring a comedian who was so good in a small, intimate room, but not in a huge.
Right.
So this comedian died. If they would have gotten somebody like Buddy Hackett or one of the, boisterous, loud.
Who's big, bigger than life, yeah.
And the one who opened the room was Joey Bishop, who was a great comedian.
Yeah,
but he was for a very small room.
Yeah, Joey's just a stand and deliver guy. Exactly. Not animated at all. I mean, yeah.
And later on that summer, we had Eartha Kitt, and she again was an intimate singer. And in a huge room of 3,500, Eartha Kitt's little,
Yeah. It doesn't play.
No.
That's interesting.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Think about that when you're booking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've all seen that. It's seen a room swallow up somebody,
right,
when they're not used to it. Because that's the whole thing. I mean, when you're a celebrity, you don't change because you're branded. This is me. I don't change for the venue. I don't change for the crowd. They adapt to me. Celebrities, it's always you adapt to me. I don't adapt to you. But that's the reason they're celebrities. Yeah. They're consistent. They're the same, and so they can be branded. Right, right. If you're a comic, like I'm a crowd pleaser.
Right.
I'm going to walk up. I'm going to feel the audience. I'm going to do enough material to kind of get a read on them, and then play to them. More basically, and to the room itself. If it's small, more contained, you'll be a certain way. If it's big, you're just. But and I say to this day, that's the reason I'm not a celebrity, Ron. Could have been.
You're a local celebrity. Don't lie. You know it. You rule Sarasota.
You're exactly right. And when it comes to big fish in little ponds, I'm one of the biggest.
Yes.
I'm one of the biggest big fish in a little pond there is anywhere in this country. I am bigger than the weatherman, Tiffany. I am bigger than the weatherman.
Didn't you do Dancing with the Stars, the local one?
Yes, I did.
Because you're a star here.
Yes, I did do Dancing with the Stars.
I love that, by the way. That was the best thing
with the president
ever.
of a bank, and that was one of the most challenging things I've ever done.
What about standing right in front of Jack Nicholson doing your?
Oh, that was that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
That was in a small 150 people, and there's Jack staring at you, and he was not happy with me for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't bring me up as a comic. I was doing an auction. I was facilitating their auction. But when I do it funny, of course, and that's what makes it fun. And they knew that. That's the reason they wanted me to be there. But the MC, who was Gary Koch, who's one of the main, commentators on NBC, and a great guy. But before I said, Gary, it's very important when you introduce me that you tell them I'm a comedian. And he didn't. He walked up there and he goes, "Hey, we got a local guy. He's a celebrity around here. Most people know him. Who's graciously said he will help us out with our auction." Les McCurdy. So there's a lot of people in the audience that don't know me at this particular event. Over half the audience doesn't know me, including Jack Nicklaus. And I get up there, and the first thing out of my mouth is, "Okay, we got 5 auction items, okay? Now, we can ponderously go through these damn things one by one, and this could take us 30, 45 minutes. Or I can get 100,000 bid, and I can get the hell out of here. Y'all will be happier. Jack will be happier." I'm like, and the people who know me, they're like, but the people who don't are like, "What is he doing?" And Jack's
So
looking at me is like, "What is this idiot doing?" And so it took him about 10 minutes to figure out that I'm what I am. I'm irreverent, that I'm not doing this. And you know what happened was I made Barbara laugh. His wife was sitting with him. And I made Barbara laugh, and as soon as Barbara laughed, I saw his face soften. Because until then, you looked like you were looking at Mount Rushmore. So then I made him. But the times I made him laugh the hardest, and there were 2 specific times where he out loud ha ha ha, was when I was messing with somebody that I shouldn't have been messing with.
Oh, really?
Well, in the case of most people, like in one case, there was 2 guys bidding on a round of golf at one of his courses and lunch with him. Well, it gotten down to 2 guys, and I started out like $1,000 thinking if we get a couple $1,000s for this, it'll be great, right? So I was going up $100 at a time. Well, then it got to the point I'm going up $500 at a time. Then it got to the point I'm going up $1,000 at a time.
Wow.
Now we're up $25,000.
Wow.
And so for this lunch thing, so when I got to 24,000, I went back to the other guy, and instead of going 25, I went 30. 24, I went 30. Now I'm going to go up 5,000 at a time. I'm like, we're wasting time. So I went 30, and the guy, he sat back. He was like, he's like, "Huh?" I go, 30. Well, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? You got it. Let's do it. And he's like, "No." I go, "You won't go 30. No." I go, "But you'll go 25. He goes, "Yeah." I go, "All right, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And I'm back to him on 30. And when I went back to him, I went, "You made us do it. You made us waste all this damn time." And I start berating him, right? And Jack just, and it's like, here's a guy donating $30,000 for a round of golf and lunch to the children's charity, and I'm busting his balls.
That's great.
And then we had Urban Meyer the next year, who's the football coach for Ohio State and national champion, all that stuff. One of the biggest, right? So next year, he's sitting right next to Jack. So we do the auction, the items, and then we're ready to finish. And Gary Koch comes over to me and he goes, "Les, we've got another item for you to auction. Coach Meyer would like to give 2 tickets to the Michigan-Ohio State game. You know, their biggest game. They'll fly you up, put you up. You come down in the locker room before the game. We'll take you out on the field before all this kind of stuff. You know, it'd be experience of a lifetime for an Ohio State fan. And so I'm like, okay, all right, sounds good. I said, but he goes, go ahead and auction it off. I said, well, I'm going to in just a second. But before I do, I've got a few questions for Coach Meyer. He looked at me. If he could have punched me in the head, he would have punched me in the head. He was so mad at me. He's like, you know, and he doesn't want to talk, you know. I went, so Coach Meyer, I said, first, I just want to get a few things clear because it's a big deal. You said they could come down on the field before the game. And he's like, yes. I go, can they do calisthenics with the team? They'll be out of the way, just in the back part of the end zone. You know, I think that'd be good for their experience. And he's like, no. I said, okay. Now, you said that they could come down, have an on-field experience. I said, how about this? Could they, during the game, could they walk behind you along the sidelines? Like, they won't bother you, but they'll just be kind of behind you where they can really get the experience of what you're doing. He's like, no. I'm like, could they hang out with the second string special teams coach? He goes, yeah, they can hang out with him.
I'm going out to see
you going out? All right. We'll see you. We'll see you in a bit.
Good conversation.
Oh,
Good conversation with
I
Ron.
think we're going to try
No doubt.
to get, because last time John was here was the first time he'd ever been to our house. And he came up to me last night and he goes, that was so neat to go to your house and da-da. I said, well, come back over. So we were thinking either Saturday afternoon or, I'm going to give him a choice, or Sunday we're doing a 5:30 show because we have the drag queen bingo afterwards. So we're done at 7.
Yeah.
So I'll say either Saturday afternoon or Sunday right after the show. So if y'all are, okay, you're all right? All right. I'll have corn this time. I'm having corn and potatoes.
something kosher.
I'm going to go buy some kosher crap for you.
Kosher corn.
I'm going to bless it myself, Ron. Oh, man. Barbee, he came up to me, I forget how many years, he could tell you, 7 or 8 years ago, because we were at the other location. And he came up to me after a show, and looking about like this. Here comes Grandpa, you know. You know, and Ron, when he walks up, he's got the orthopedic shoes, a cardigan sweater, you know, polyester pants. Here he comes, you know. And he comes up and he goes, hey, man. He goes, I've been coming here. He goes, I'm from Chicago. He goes, I love your club. He goes, look. He goes, I'm a musician. And he goes, and he tells me, he goes, you know, I was in Dallas Symphony Orchestra. You heard the stories. You have toured with Phil Collins, a tour with Quincy Jones.
Really impressive.
I've been a band leader forever. He goes, and I'm bored to shit down here. He goes, I can tell jokes forever. He goes, can I get on your stage? Is there any way I can get on your stage and tell jokes? And I said, Wednesday's open mic. I'll give you 5 minutes. Come tell some jokes this Wednesday. So he came. He doesn't do anything but jokes, Tiffany. I mean, he does no material of his own. All like Jackie Martling. All jokes, just jokes. But he'll personalize them. He'll make them his own. But still jokes. And so he came in, did 5 minutes, killed. I mean, absolutely killed. So I was like, okay, come back for the Friday late show. And I'll let you do 10 minutes with the youngest crowd that's the most raucous crowd. Smoked.
Yeah.
Smoked it, you know. I was like, all right, come back next Wednesday, and I'm going to let you do, I want to see you do 20, 25 minutes. And if it's not going well, I'll give you the light. You know, I don't want you to do time only if it's going well. You know, I don't want you to just kill time, feel like you have to kill time. I don't want anybody doing that. You know, you do it's working. And so he came in 20, and now he middles. He's middled for Mitch Fatale. He's middled and all the comics. He's never had a bad set.
No,
because it's jokes.
Yeah,
and Ron can do 45 minutes if you want him to, just jokes. And the comics, the headliners, all love him because he doesn't step on material.
Right.
Because he's just telling jokes.
Yeah.
And it's such a, and the crowds come up to me, oh, who's the old guy? Who's the old guy? Who's the old joke teller? When's he coming back?
Yeah.
It's refreshing because that is a style of comedy that you don't hear much anymore.
Well, it's old school, and you know what? I think there's a need from the crowd's perspective for it, but you get so much hatred from some of the other comedians because they're like, that's not fair that he's doing that. That's and that's what it is. I feel like a lot of people could do that because people want it. The crowd wants it. They don't care.
I'm telling you what, one of the things has always been a thing that I've preached to comedians is going, if you're doing your show for the other comics,
exactly,
you are working the wrong way. Those comics are not going to pay your bills. Those comics are not going to get you work. They're not. The comedy club owner, I can tell you right now, the club owner most of the time does not listen to your act. They might watch you one time.
Mm-hmm.
They listen for the laughter. Yeah. And that's all and they don't care what you're doing to create it, whether you're juggling, doing props, singing, they don't care.
Yeah, it's a business.
That's right. And the audience leaves, and all they know is, unless you're a really sophisticated audience member to stand-up comedy, you don't walk out going, well, that was funny, but boy, it was a lot of stock and not.
Right, exactly.
No, they walk out going, that was funny as hell. Yeah. That's all they know.
That's true. Well, it's so funny because just the other day, I went to see one of my friend's shows, and the one comedian that was there, another girl that was featuring, she's like, I've never seen you do comedy, but I've heard great things. I'm like, it's because I don't perform for comedians. Like, I'm out doing shows. I'm traveling around doing shows.
Exactly.
I'm not.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Marcella.
I'm just wondering about starting the show on time.
Yes. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good.
This is our showroom manager, Marcella.
Hi.
She works very hard. She's
Yes,
all
she
over
does.
the place.
Where is John? Is he running late?
Yeah, the comedy condo's closed. He's fine. Is he staying?
Oh,
over
yeah.
there?
He's
I don't
there.
know if he lives here or not.
No, he's there. No, he's L.A. He's L.A.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's, matter of fact, he's from New York, grew up in New York, but he's been in L.A. for, God, I don't know, 30 years or so. You know what? Surfer.
Really?
And he doesn't.
I would never.
No, you look at him.
I would never.
Because he's short and stocky.
Well, that could be perfect for
He's
it,
a
right?
big time surfer and surfboarder. Like he's a shredder.
Wow.
He has a motorized skateboard. Motorized skateboard that'll go like 15, 20 miles an hour on a damn skateboard. I go, you're too old for that shit. You can kill yourself.
That's
but
so
no, he
funny.
loves that stuff.
Wow.
I was out there a few years ago, and I just happened to pick up newspaper. My brother-in-law lives near Seal Beach in Orange County, about 10 minutes from the beach. And I picked up newspaper and national surfing championships, U.S. nationals at Seal Beach or Huntington Beach. And I'm like, how far is that, Brian? He goes, 15 minutes that way. Huh. I said, so I knew John was a big surfer. So I texted him. I go, are you in town for the surfing? He goes, Les, I will be there every morning. He goes, I don't work that week. I am always there every morning. Meet me at this pier. And there was a restaurant, like a breakfast, lunch, like diner kind of place on the end of the pier. And so we went out and had breakfast out there. And then we just hung out over the top of the pier watching these amazing surfers. It was fantastic.
Awesome. It's funny because, you know what? I actually know a lot of LA comedians that are into surfing. And I just, like it's surfing and basketball. I feel like comedians they do. Yeah. They always have their surfing group and then their basketball group. But yeah, like I know Andrew Norelli, who's been, he's a big surfer guy. Yeah. And
I understand basketball.
Yeah, there's a lot of basketball. Like
team sport to pick up. Like
Gary Shandling used to have basketball, like a secret basketball group at his house. I saw it, but one of my friends I know did it, and then later after he died, they actually put an article in ESPN about it.
Bobby Collins, big basketball player, and well, figure. It's easy to do and it's not expensive. Mm-hmm. You can find a basketball court somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, it's the easiest. One of the easiest. That's soccer.
I'm getting a cup of coffee.
Y'all
keep chatting.
Well, I kind of want to go potty because that's my pregame. That's my pregame ritual because I never worry that I'm gonna forget my set. If I do, I do. But what if I have to pee? I worry. Will I have to pee
That's the worst.
during my sets? Or poop. No kidding. Edit that out. Okay.
I was going to mention to you too last night when you did your online dating thing.
Yeah.
And you met a little reference. They're older. They all get the online dating.
Oh yeah.
There's so many comics do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of these older people, they got online dating for their age.
Yeah, like the
eHarmony.
Silver Seniors. Or
Yeah,
no, what is it?
eHarmony.
Silver Singles. That's what it is.
Silver Singles.
Isn't it?
I throw that out there.
Wow.
They come at you on Silver Singles.
Yeah.
Remember I had the cotton candy?
Yeah. Oh man.
That's hilarious.
Oh God.
Yeah, John's missing the important podcast part.
I'll
What's he
be here.
doing?
Come
He's
here
out
and do a couple
partying. He's doing
voices.
something super cool, I bet.
Yeah, it's probably skateboarding.
He is totally spaced.
There is a skate park, by the way. That's not too
Oh,
far
yeah.
from me. So
Me and
might-
Chris,
That's right.
he might
Yeah,
be
right
over
behind the
there.
courthouse.
That's so
There
funny.
it is.
Me and Chris Gorges actually skate when we're on the road and we
Yeah,
do
I've seen-
shows. We do the skateboarding.
I
We'll
couldn't
find a
believe
skate
it.
park in the area and we'll go and do that.
First time I ever met Chris, he just came to the show on his skateboard smoking a cigarette, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Isn't he
"No
badass?
way."
He's so
Which
badass.
one is it? Oh, Chris Gorges.
Gorges, yeah.
Feature? Oh, this is awesome.
Fun.
I love that guy.
He's one of my favorites. Yeah. Andrew Norelli, you mentioned too. You know, Andrew, I hope he's doing okay.
Well, yeah, it's like his dad used to live here, and then I think something like he's not doing well. I can't
Well,
remember.
he's got depression issues.
Oh.
And he was booked about a year ago, and he was booked about a year ago, and he got in touch with us a few weeks before, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm not going to be able to make it." And he was very upfront about what was going on, and we were all like, "Hey man, you're doing the right thing. You know, go and you can't.
Yeah, family.
People that ignore it, bad shit happens." And so he's and I emailed him not long ago. He sent me something. I emailed him and just like, "Hey, are you ready to come back? How's everything going?" He goes, "I'm doing much better. I'm kind of staying right in my area, but he goes, things are going good. I'm feeling good." So he's a great guy.
Oh, yeah, he's
and
a
an
really
excellent
good
comedian, man.
Yeah.
How much time are you doing this, by the way?
About 15, 20.
15, 20?
Yeah.
15, 20.
It was funny last time we did the podcast. Vinny Ward was here, and he thought, because you had a huge applause break, so he thought that it was his set. And I'm not kidding you, he ducked underneath the other thing, and he army crawled across the floor, and then got up just to figure out that he had another 5 minutes to wait. And I was like,
I love that dynamic of this is when people are listening, when that they can see that, oh, that comic didn't prepare at all. They just like, oh my God, and they just jumped and they just went.
Right.
And the same way as I'm doing right now. He'll call my name and I'll just watch.
Right.
But then again, Eric Meyer was sitting here and he was
Yeah.
like, "Hey guys, I don't want to break away, but I need to go look over my stuff." And he was over there doing it, and he kept yelling at us. He was like,
Yeah.
"I should be over there. I don't want to do my homework."
So funny. Yeah, I'm working with him in September.
I love Eric.
Eric's amazing.
At like some kind of Isla Morada. I keep saying it wrong. At first I was saying Isla Morada.
No, it is Isla Morada.
It is. I know. I
Oh,
finally got
oh,
it right.
yes.
I've been saying it wrong. I've been like Isla Morada. I don't know how I've been saying it. Every way was wrong.
It's like a
until
one
just-
night thing.
Yeah. Dougie Almeida does that.
Oh,
for him.
I know Doug.
Yeah, he does a few different
Okay. I haven't
places,
seen
and that's
Doug in a while.
one.
That's beautiful.
Eric's one of
beautiful
those
down there.
those headliners. Less we close the show every once in a while. Like he'll take off and I'll close the show.
Yeah,
like,
you're really good at doing that for him.
yeah.
Now you're like the only person that I've seen that's like match the amazingness of what he does
Yeah,
at the
I
end.
learned
Because
a
what
lot.
you do is an art at the end. Like that's what last night when you're like, "Can you close?" I'm like, "You know what? I've seen you close the show, and I don't think I could get all that."
Eric's one of those few guys though, where like for me anyway, I don't even try to be funny after that. I'm just like, "Yep, announcements, like just go." Like I'm not gonna try to like match that. Like this is him and Robert Kelly. Robert Kelly came in one time,
Yes.
and Robert Kelly killed so hard. I went up and I made some like Louis C.K. reference that I looked like the illegitimate child of Louis C.K. and it fell flat, and I heard him laughing behind me, and he's just like, "Oh my God!" He goes, "You ate it up there, kid." He was made fun of for like a week straight. It was so funny. I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah, nothing's funnier sometimes than seeing a comedian be on stage that you know is good, and when they talk and then they wait for that laugh and nothing happens.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes that silence.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if it's because I'm sick in my head. I get such a giggle out of that, like a
It's
deep
like watching
belly
your
laugh.
friend fall, but not like die. You know what I mean? It's hilarious.
Yes.
But yeah, it's fun.
Yes. Oh God.
That's my favorite part.
I always remember in my acting training when I was an actor, of course, the audience is not supposed to be there, but they are there. But they're not to you. They're not supposed to be there.
The
You're
fourth
in
wall.
another world.
Yeah.
Right.
But you still have to hold for laughs and things. But and so the art was you can never play a laugh, even though you know it's coming. You can't play it. It just has to happen, and then you just have to kind of naturally let it. It's like it's almost like it's inside the back of your head somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was good for me as a comic to go. If there's that moment where you're expecting a laugh and it doesn't laugh, to just roll on, just like, no, I didn't expect anybody to laugh there.
Like when you're like,
No,
when you do
of
that
course
handshake
not.
and you pull your hand back,
Yes.
like, oh, I wasn't trying to handshake
No.
you. I was
Yeah,
just
Laugh.
Yeah.
Who would try to get a laugh with that? Piece of crap.
smooth recovery.
Oh, God.
That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Oh
okay?
yeah, sure. You're fine. We're just gonna keep going. So.
You go. But once again, this has been great.
I
Modell
love it.
coming in and sitting
That
down.
was cool. That was cool. I think we should incorporate that a little bit more. Like, have a couple guests.
That's what I said today about having. I love for comics just to drop in.
That'd be great.
You know, if there's a comic here, I'm gonna tell Marcella. If a comic walks in that door and we're doing a podcast,
Throw them back here.
get them back here.
Yeah.
You know.
Plus, they get to watch the show too. It's awesome. You know. All right, go get them, Les.
Here we go.
Hey, John. Les just went up and is doing his thing right now.
I heard the most interesting thing about you.
Uh-oh.
I heard that you like to surf and skateboard. I love skateboarding.
Hello?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Me and the headliner that I travel around with, whenever we go to a new town, we find a skate park and we skate like all day. That's like our thing because it's cheap. It's like $5 and like you're freaking having a great time.
Absolutely.
If it costs anything.
Yeah. There's a
a lot
skate
of
park
fun.
right around the corner.
Oh, I know. Chris told me about that. He's like, you should stay there one night and go to that because he came here one week and he was like, he purposely stayed even though like he was pretty close.
Yeah.
He's like, because I want to wake up the next day and freaking go to the skate park.
He did, I
you
think
go
he-
to
Is
it
it a
yet?
decent one?
Here
in town?
I've never.
Yeah, Chris said
skateboarded
it was
before.
great.
Yeah.
Like he told me I should actually stay overnight one night and do that, but I was like, I don't know with the whole car thing, but
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, if I'm going to skate at a park, I go to Huntington Beach, and they just tripled the size of their skate park. The Vans skate park.
oh,
in
I
Huntington
bet
Beach.
of course.
Oh,
and
it was amazing.
of course,
Just
you
opened last week.
have you been to the Kona skate park in Jacksonville? That one's like
No.
super famous.
No.
If you ever do a room in St. Augustine or Jacksonville, the reason I'm talking to this microphone is because of podcast thing.
Oh.
He's like, why does she keep leaning
I know,
weirdly
I'm
into the
like,
like, what is she
Dicrosta
doing
is
right
our
now?
headliner this week. He's joining us. He's talking about skateboarding.
I didn't know what was going on. Oh, that's right.
I know, he was looking at me so weird. I'm like, you know what? I should
Why
probably
are you-
explain. Like, why does she keep leaning into that microphone? Like, what's happening right now?
I forget he put it together.
Like, I don't really know her that well. Like, I thought she was normal, but now I'm like, maybe she's not normal.
Just loves talking to the
She just
microphone.
likes to like go up like a cat and like rub my face against a microphone. But yeah, Kona Skate Park's like uber famous. So there used to be some good comedy clubs in Jacksonville, not so much anymore. But yeah, like that's a park.
Really?
That's a park to hit. Uber famous. I know you don't know. You don't skate, but he skates. I'm talking
I never
about.
was good at it. No.
You don't have to be great at it, but you can. I mean, that's how you get good at it. It's by
I think I
going.
was too tall. I never low
Too
center
tall.
of gravity. You know what I mean?
That's a horrible excuse.
It's an excuse for sure. It's more of a fear of falling. That's what I'm terrible at. Getting over that fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna brush my hair before the show. It's funny when I work.
Sound effects.
I worked with Jamie Kennedy like 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "You brush your hair a lot." I'm like, "Shut up." I'm like, "Mind your business." It's because I'm at a comedy. I have to go on the stage. People judge me if my hair is awry. I know it. I know it. They would be like, "That girl was pretty funny, but her hair was awry."
Awry.
I don't
think
even know.
anybody would ever say your hair was awry. Unless we were in parts of England.
Yeah, right. That was a roll. Well, shoot.
All right, now I'm gonna powder my nose. I never do this except for when I'm going on stage. I just feel like sometimes people are like, "God, that girl's high maintenance." I'm like, no, I do this only. I mean, I put makeup on in the morning, like a normal human being, but
you know, so it works.
Oh my god, I'm next to go up there.
Yeah.
Have I thought about what I'm gonna do?
Yeah. Have you prepared at all? Do you need to prepare? I don't think you need to
No,
prepare.
I'm pretty much, just gonna do the tried and true. I'm not gonna experiment this weekend. You know what I mean? Like when you're new to like doing a thing at a club, you don't want to be like, "Hey, here's my new stuff."
Yeah. Let's take some risks.
Because I actually have like 5 new bits that I really want to try. That's in the oven getting ready to be taken out, but I'm not gonna do it. It was tempting, but I'm not.
And wait for Sunday. That's what
Yeah,
Sundays are
maybe. Is that what Sunday's for?
That's what I think.
Here? No, see, I won't take any risks this weekend. I'm
Yeah.
not, it's one of those things. And plus, I've had some pretty bad luck. I mentioned the car thing earlier. My car broke yesterday on the way here. Like the check engine light came on. It started acting weird the day before a little bit. Then the check engine light, and then I called up my mom and I was like, "Mom, you know what?" Because my mom's not using her car because she's legally blind, but she won't accept it, so she keeps the car. Because one day she might drive it, but she keeps it at my uncle's house. So I had to go to my mom's, get the keys, go to my uncle's house, and I was like, I got here later than I normally would.
Right.
I was freaking out though. Like I was like, oh my lord. And I had to go to the dentist tomorrow. Like so like I got the dentist and the mechanic, which is like the 2 big things where they try to take all your money. You know what I mean? When you go, they're like, "Hey, you know what? This was $1,200.
Yeah.
Like whenever you go to the mechanic or the dentist, I feel like everything's always $1,200.
That's funny.
One of my students, I teach martial arts. One of my students punched
What
me.
do you teach?
Taekwondo and kickboxing. A bunch of stuff like jujitsu and stuff, but one of my one of my 7-year-old kids punched me in the face because they do this thing where they turn around and they wrap up your hands and then they pretend to hit you in the face, but sometimes pretend doesn't work out, and the kid got me just right, and he like made my tooth like
really
get trauma, so now I got to get a root canal.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so
Send him
like
the bill.
luckily the tooth's not loose. Yeah, the dentist's like, well, because I was like, how important.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I was like a 7. She's like, "You should sue the kid." I'm like, "Yeah, let me have all your Legos." I'm like, it's okay. It's a part of the job. I've never been injured before. I think as you get older, you get
More prone.
more breakable.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm 35, and like now I realize like sometimes I'm like, oh my knee hurts. It's gonna be cold. And it's gonna rain later.
35, you're getting that
well,
already?
but I have an athlete's body. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing martial arts since I was like 6. So you know what I mean? You do something enough that you see how baseball players and stuff start to fall apart. I think that's what's happening to me.
All my years of skating and tennis and soccer and everything, you work those joints forever.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer. I don't care if you're a
Yeah.
major league player or you're just an average athlete. It's going to open yourself up to injury and pain.
Yeah, my knees definitely. When I lived in England and it would snow, my one knee actually didn't work basically for like 4 months.
So you did live in England.
I
That's
did.
why you say awry.
Yeah, I did live in England.
They all said your hair was awry in England.
They're like, your hair. Look at that.
Look
at that little
Look at
American
her.
girl
Tiffany's
with the awry
hair is
hair.
awry.
Pout to head. Yeah.
But yeah, I had my leg in like a brace and everything, so I'm like, oh man, I have to live in Florida. I'm gonna go back so I can walk. It'll be nice to be able
Just
to
flat
walk.
land. Yeah, no hills or nothing.
And I was like 27, 26 then, so who knows now? I should probably start listening for. Oh God, I just like clicked the
about
mic.
9 minutes. In theory.
You think?
In theory.
In theory,
Yeah.
you never know.
I think he's been up for about 10.
I wish we had water back
He's gonna do like 20. There's
think
some
I'm
water
gonna
back.
suggest.
There's a water cooler right around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like water?
You know, because here's my thing. I think, what's the origin of the cups? How were the cups cared for before I put it? Did someone just go, oh, and then they put it back? Like, I worry about the cups a little bit. Like, if there are paper cups, I feel like.
Paper
is it
cups
weird?
and
Am I
no,
weird
not
for
weird
that?
at all. I feel the same exact
I like
way.
the origin. Like, when I was at Side Splitters, like 3 weeks ago, the waitress came up. She's like, here's a piece of pizza. And I'm like, what's the origin of this pizza? How long has it been
Oh,
sitting
now you're
out? Like,
crazy.
I'm like, I need to know. Well, it had meat on it. I don't know. I'm like,
That's
like
true.
you know, did
backstory?
someone touch it? And they're like, I don't
You want
want
the
it. Now we're giving
biopic
it to
of the
you. These are
pizza.
the things that happen in my
You're
brain.
trying to find everything.
Show me footage of this pizza.
Yeah. I want security footage.
I want the origin story of anything that goes near my mouth.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Anything?
Everything. That's funny.
Oh, wait, you know what? I have water in my bag.
Oh, you can just fill it up.
I'm counting cash. My cash is all awry. Here's my 10s. Here's my 20s.
When I'm up there, you guys can talk to him. You
Oh,
lessen him while I
the
do it.
second you put your foot on that stage,
Don't talk about me.
it's all Tiffany, Barbee, all the time.
I'm Tiffany. I'm Kimber. Nice to meet you. Figure new face, I should say.
Yep.
Alright, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Comedy.
Open up with suicide jokes. That's my best.
Suicide
Just
jokes?
open up. Just get dark right off the bat. You can only go light from
Do not laugh at every joke, I'm gonna kill myself.
there.
That was a joke.
You're supposed to laugh. Fuck.
Alright.
What much do you do, John? Like 50?
50 to an hour, usually less. We usually don't use a middle when I'm here because I always bring out all the gags. Because I
You're used to
usually
doing cruise ships, so you get so many.
I do 5
so
30-minute
much
shows,
time, yeah.
and they're all different.
That's why I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing your set. I'm like, not really your set because you have like 1,000 sets.
Cruise ships. Is that weird? Just like being on the ship the whole time with the people. Like
Yeah.
You've done the show,
They
then
let
like
you
you're
stay
locked
on
on board almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I don't want to say trapped, but you're seeing these people for 7 days.
But you're not allowed to talk to them and hang out with them.
Yeah,
right?
you can. Yeah,
Because I heard
absolutely.
like you're not allowed to
Not
like,
able to
consort.
fornicate
Oh,
with the
You can't have sex basically, unless you brought the person.
but you're allowed to hang out and consort.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I thought you weren't allowed to.
No.
fraternize with the-
Well, fraternize. Yeah. No, you can hang out and have a drink and do whatever. You can go on an excursion or whatever.
How would they know if you boned or not?
Oh, they know.
They know?
There's cameras everywhere.
Really?
Yeah,
So they're just watching people going in and out of your
correct.
room and stuff. That's some weird stuff.
Correct.
Is there a reason for that?
Lawsuits.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was
Like
like that in
everything
that
else.
Dirty Dancing movie, remember? That was like the whole thing. He wasn't supposed to be like with that baby girl, Johnny Castle. Did you guys watch Dirty
Sure,
Dancing? I'm a
of
girl.
course.
It's a very famous movie.
Of course,
Okay.
absolutely.
But Patrick Swayze was not allowed
Of
to
course,
talk to
it was
her.
one of the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he let the rich guys, the waiters, were allowed to talk to the girls, but they weren't. I don't know if they're allowed to.
I don't
I
know.
have to go back and watch it.
I haven't seen that movie probably in.
Yeah.
When did that come out? 20? 30 years?
1988, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30.
1987, 1988. That was my jam. That and Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's.
God, I just watched Weekend at Bernie's for the first time in a while with my roommate. He'd never seen it.
Really?
And he's like, this is so weird. It's just about like a dead body. I'm like, it is funny. That was like my favorite movie when I was 5 years old. Was like this dead body being thrown around for like
It
an
was
hour.
funny. It was a comedy. It was hilarious.
You're 92. Just have you know.
Are Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande feuding? Do they have some turf war going on?
Now don't screw it up. It's easy.
Oh no, these are kind words.
Well, I'd like to hear the
And now-
versions of that tomorrow.
Gossip.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
we're so happy that you're all here.
Hello,
We have a
baby.
great show lined up for you tonight. I'm excited to bring our first act out. Are you excited?
Yes, we're so excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a young lady like yourselves. Yes, we have a young lady. A young lady. Yeah, you'll be like, oh my God, this is my granddaughter. She's not. Very talented. We've been watching her. For the last 8 or 9 years as she.
We knew her when she was a child.
Now we're so proud. Welcome to the stage, Tiffany, Barbee. Let her hear it, Tiffany.
Neither of those are her real name.
Tiffany
It's not Tiffany or Barbie. It's Wendy Skipper. Hey, Bobo.
Hello there, buddy. That's right. So it's fun that Ron came in and we got him sitting down and chatting for a little while.
I ran late. I looked at. I'm watching baseball because the Yankees were on first and the Dodgers were on, and I'm like, oh, it's only 5:35, and it didn't even register. I was looking at a 6, and I'm like, oh, it's 6:35. I'm like, the Dodgers had 8 home runs in 2 innings.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
They finished. It was like 12-2.
Remind me, we got the NCAAs.
Yeah.
We're in the Sweet 16, and Florida State, because Pam's a Seminole. She's a Seminole. They start, I believe, now, and they're playing Gazanga.
Gazinga!
Now there's Tennessee. That's one of them. Gazanga. That's one of those schools you go, where the fuck is Gazanga?
Where is
That's like a
Gazanga?
Jeopardy
That's
question.
not even a. That's a sound effect.
Oh, wait a minute. It's down here. There we go. Gazanga. Okay, FSU, you're in there tight for now. 14-12. All right, I'm gonna go put an eye on her. We were talking, if you want, and the Modell said that's fine with them. Either, if you're into coming over the house, either Saturday day or Sunday, we're doing the show at 5:30 because we have Drag Queen Bingo. So we'll be finished by 7, or come over to the house after the show on Sunday.
That probably would be more fun, right?
Yeah, we can build a fire out of the fire
That
pit
sounds
and have a little dinner and hang out.
That sounds awesome.
Perfect.
I'll already I'll pre-pack in a day and then come over right after.
Okay.
Perfect.
There's a couple of us like sporadically spread out throughout the room. We got married people. Where are the married people at?
Russ, what did she tell a joke about? Low-hanging balls or something?
She said her mother has not dated since she was born.
Reagan.
Yeah, just hadn't dated. Never dated. And her reason being was that a man her age would have disgusting balls. And she's like, is that what old women are doing? You know, I don't picture the Golden Girls down there, so it's just all kind of.
But is there anything about low-hanging balls?
Not really. She does one thing with the guy. Oh, yes. There's a thing at the where she goes back to the couple that have been married for 59 years.
Right.
And she goes, have you noticed anything? Like, is there a difference in, you know, where the descending?
Okay.
Did you notice anything descending? And I think that was the reference she had. And and then she goes, is he using your wrinkle cream?
Right. Because I want to open with a tag with her show.
Oh, okay.
I love doing that. Tying it. And,
Oh, yeah.
The world is for me. I will use this stage with it in
I want to say, I got here late tonight because I was just at the hospital. Just had a birthday and I'm thinking of getting my balls lifted. Right? Go get it.
They tell me it's called a testicle tuck.
A taint tightening.
A tank tightening.
Testicle tuck taint tightening.
Let me ask you this. Does anybody here know? Do you tighten the tank first before you bleach or after you bleach and then tighten?
No, you gotta tighten first, then bleach.
Yeah, why would you bleach with a loose
But when do you
tank?
wax?
Why would you bleach a
Bleach with a loose
tank? It's like, goes against the whole concept.
Yeah, don't bleach a tank you're not gonna keep.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Your tank, you're bleaching. There's a lot of extra bleachage.
Bleaching.
Did they charge you by the
ounce?
Ounce? I don't know. Centimeter? It's a silly centimeter longer. Oh God.
And then the camera always went to the window, okay? And then you hear wind chimes. Wind chimes. I still get aroused whenever I hear wind chimes. I can't set one to it.
It's a low score if it is.
So, I didn't do the masks last night because there was no guys in front. It was all women.
I meant to tell you this. I forgot all about it.
I gotta get off the stage.
I got it.
You guys have been awesome.
Which I was supposed to. I did the mask because I gotta tell you. They smelled a little funky. I said, I don't know if you claim.
Somebody in the audience?
Yes. I said,
No, they don't smell. It's not even. It's under your
seeing
nose.
the guy. I said, it smelled a little
Smelled a little funky.
I said, I'll have to ask him to see if he does he Lysol.
Yeah, they're like bowling
Do you
shoes.
disinfect your mask? I mean, you are asking her, how many people been in that mask?
Hundreds. I do change. I put like a strip of surgical tape on the back where their mouth goes,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't Lysol the lip.
Maybe.
Lysol in the lip and tighten in my taint. That's the title of my next CD. Tighten in my taint. Tighten in my taint.
Oh, God. You might as well get your weenus done, too.
They made me change churches. You guys have been awesome. My name is Tiffany Barbee. Enjoy your headliner.
Islands in the Stream, that's a playoff music.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I didn't tell them.
Nice job.
I didn't tell them any songs because every song I could think of had the word fuck in it.
Every song you
Every song that I wanted to go out into the stage had like come on, motherfucker, come on, and then have a great set.
Thanks.
And then my other song that I like that I do at the improv is I don't fuck with you, you little stupid ass bitch. I don't fuck with you. I don't know, for some reason I like that. Those
It's fun
songs.
to come out with stuff like that.
All my favorite songs have that word in it.
One of my first
So I got
songs-
one for you.
Oh yay, I love that.
STDs.
Oh yeah.
You go. They all have STDs.
Yeah.
You know STDs. Seniors dragging testicles. Because you've already done right. It's right after your ball.
That's hysterical.
Seniors dragging testicles.
That's
That's
hysterical.
SDT though.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Seniors
Look at you.
testicles dragging.
Seniors testicles drag.
I think if I
Senior
say
testicles
Senior
dragging.
testicle drag.
there you go. I'm sure if I said it the other way, you know they would still know
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, that's so funny, I'm not even going to do math
The
and
one
figure it
person.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
Then
I'm
you do another joke about I'm dyslexic.
dyslexic. And I'm just like,
Senior testicle dragging.
I love that. Senior. I'll try that tomorrow.
Anytime I get an acronym, I always try to think of a bastardization.
I'm gonna write that
because
down.
they're easy.
Yeah.
They're always you know STDs, and then you know whatever. You can always usually come up with something. It's just an easy gimmick.
I'm gonna use my eyeliner to write it down. That's how excited I am
got
about
pins.
this. No, I have a pen. I was just so excited about what you said. I grabbed the first thing that felt like a pen.
Eyeliner. Write it on your face. So you're
God, pen.
Good job. I was watching your show. I'm gonna make some. I love sitting and making notes with anybody's show. There is. I can guarantee you, just watching, I watched how you're pacing. There is at least 4 or 5 moments within your first 5 minutes where there's a laugh that you're not getting.
Right.
It's like you've set something up. I can't say specifically right now. I'll have to write them down. But it's like where I go. Whatever you've said, I go. The rhythm is like there's going to be a punch there, right. And it's in your explanation. It's just in your explanation. But I go, there could be something there. There could be, and sometimes I can identify those points. But I can't specifically think of anything, but I can go, there's something there, there's something there, there's something there. That's just what, I mean, I can hear it. I go, timing wise, you go, boom, boom, boom. And it's in the pattern of how you're talking.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean?
No, I love that. Like, I'm one of those people, and I try to tell bookers or whatever, I'm like, if you hear something, I'm not ego at all. Like, I want to know. Like, if you can give me any thoughts or any critiquing, I love that. Like, I want that. Maybe it's because I'm a martial artist.
Let me tell you something.
I just love to be tweaked.
There's not a single comment that comes in here, and I'm talking to headliners that, are as established as that I go up and go, do you mind do you like a tag idea if I have something? Nobody says no.
Right.
everybody goes, yeah.
Well, some people are super ego. Like, I mean, especially with critiquing. Like, adding a tag sometimes is fun. But, like, yeah, like, I want, like, you should, like, any kind of critiquing. I just like that. Yeah. Like, just because I know I don't know everything. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm not perfect or even really good at this. I'm good enough to be getting regular work, but I know that I could be better. And if I don't get critiqued, I won't get better. It's just like at school.
The thing that I give you, Mike, especially comics that are at that opening middle level, that I hear that's the difference between the headliner is that they're going for more attempts at a laugh per minute than you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? They really are. And that's the reason that, and I mean, we all know it. You can walk out there, and any middle act can walk there and have a great set. But a good headliner within 10 minutes will take the level of the laughter and everything up higher. I know I've had middle acts that have gone, I'm ready to headline. And I go, I don't think, not here you're not.
Right.
And I'll go, and they'll go, I think I am. And I go, here's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to tape your set. And then we're going to tape the first 10 minutes of the headliner. And I want you to listen to the volume of the laughter.
Absolutely.
Where yours is and where theirs is. I go, it'll be noticeable.
Right.
It'll be as if we turn the volume up.
Right.
And I go, but that's what you're shooting for. You need to get there. It's not that you're not good. You are doing good.
Right.
But to get to that level.
It's not that level yet.
You're just not there yet. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either.
No. You hadn't developed your yet.
You're in there. And this is what I've noticed. Do you notice that the newer people that started in like the last 3 years or so all think they're ready to headline? They're all in a race. I emceed for a long time before I featured.
Oh, yeah.
I've been featuring for a while. I have no visions. I mean, someone asked me to do like a headlining thing at their bar, and I could do it. But I was like, I always say no a lot of times and stuff because I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm not ready. I want people to be like, I wish she stayed up there longer.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to she could have gotten off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be really good at it. I just know I'm happy at this feature level.
Well, it's like
there's so many levels.
The only time to take a gig like that is because you go, well, it's a one-nighter.
Right.
It's not going to affect me however it goes as far as career-wise, and it just gives me a chance to work out longer. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I want somebody else when you're, I mean, I remember personally, opening act, when you finally got to where I'm being hired as an opening act, and that, that back in the day, and still I think, because your opening act is your 25 minute act, and then your middle is 30 to 35, and your headliner was 45 to an hour.
Okay.
That's the way every show was, okay?
Yeah.
So to become the opening act, the host, you had to be able to handle 25 minutes. And so you finally get to the point where you get hired, and you're doing that. And usually by the time you're doing that, you're in a comfort zone for that. Moving from there to middle was not a big deal. It was just a little more time.
Yeah.
Which after a year, so the thing it is, you have usually at least 2 cycles of going through your clubs before you're even getting offered to go to middle. So that's a couple years.
Right.
So that by the time you're getting offered to go to middle, yeah, you definitely got the 35 minutes. You've been working, you're very confident with it. I remember moving from opener to middle was no big deal. I mean, like,
Right.
then moving to headliner. In my mind, I thought, it'll be the same. Just, I just need 45 to 50. I'm already at 35. I'm confident. I've been doing this for this many years, Man, that first year out there headlining, it was like, it didn't hit me until I was in it. And I realized if the whole show sucks in front of me, I have to save the evening.
Right.
Yeah.
If the whole show in front of me absolutely rocks, I have to take it to another level above.
A lot of pressure.
Not the same. I have to be above everybody else.
A lot of pressure.
And more time. It's it. You're it. It's like everybody else can have a bad night.
Right.
You
Yes,
cannot.
all the pressure's on you.
You cannot have
You're the
a
reason they
bad
came.
night.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there at first watching both situations, watching an opener walk up there that was great, and then the middle came up and just killed, and I'm going, whoa. I hope I'm, but that was better.
Right.
It was better than when you're sitting there watching everybody eat it, tank, and go, I can't tank.
Yeah, you can't.
Right.
I cannot.
Right.
I cannot tank, And so the pressure going to headliner was, to me, a lot more than any other. The rest of the stages they just kind of flowed.
Gradual.
But
Right.
headliner was definitely, because you're the deal. You're it. And, and I think at that level, it just, you get into a comfort zone, but then it's, you get on the Tonight Show or
Yeah.
pressure.
Well, there's different levels, I think, too. Like, there's minor leagues, I almost feel like, and major leagues.
Yes.
So, like, the road comedians, like, let's say the Chris Gorge is the guy that I travel with, and,
Yeah.
like, Bull and them, they can headline at, like, some certain
Yes.
clubs, but they're, like, minor leagues. And then you get people like D.L. Hughley and Jamie Kennedy and all those guys. Those are major league
Yes,
players.
that's
It's
right.
like,
Yeah, that's right. And like getting to that, and now it's like getting hired at all. Just getting hired at all.
yeah.
You go, once again, most A clubs only have about 20 weeks,
Right.
maybe half the year max, 25 max, that are available to the tour and road acts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So 25 slots.
Yeah.
And you know how many comics are out there,
know.
and they're good. There's that. I mean, you go.
They really
There's
are.
a
The minor league
1,000
guys are
good
great.
comics out there, that are good, and you go. Somehow I got to shake out,
Right.
of this situation. But I think one of the big ways you do it now is that you get really good in your region.
Right.
In your area,
Yeah.
you get really good and dependable and solid, and then the club owners themselves are the ones that
Come to you a
they can open the doors for you into other places.
I see.
I mean, you're much more likely, like Eric Meyer was like, I can't get into the club in Chattanooga, and I go, I'll get you in the club in Chattanooga.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he can beat his head against the wall trying to get to Michael
Right.
Alfano. But I'll call Michael and we'll chitter chat, and I'll just go, I just had this guy Eric Meyer, and he'll kill in your room. He's awesome. I bet him, I'm just telling you, book him.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, and Mark Ridley's going to do the same thing up in Detroit. But, you know, we're club owners.
Right.
And I'm not going to say to a club owner, book somebody that I don't feel 100% sure
Right.
that they're going to go in there and not just do a good job, that club owner is going to call me and go,
Thank you.
wow.
Right. Yeah.
You know, man.
You're vouching for them. Essentially.
Yeah, it's your
Right.
credibility.
I
on
mean,
the
that
line.
part, everybody I've sent to somebody has become a regular part of their schedule.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
You know,
awesome.
but yeah, because man, it's just a numbers game. You know, it's a numbers game now.
Yeah, I think I'm in a spot now with my comedy where I'm comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
And I love what I do. Like, I feel so honored that I get paid to tell jokes on
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Like, how wonderful is that? And I
Yeah.
work a lot. I do work almost every weekend. I would actually like to take a nap every now and then.
Mm.
But you know, I am working a lot and I love it. But so I'm comfortable on stage, but I'm still trying to find my voice until
Sure.
like I have like an order of which I do things, so you can kind of find the storyline that's happening, and I'm connecting with the audience. I feel like I'm likable, and I feel like I'm amusing them, and I'm making big laughs happen. But yeah, I'm working on, like you said, on the getting it down, finding my voice, getting down the beats.
You know, the finding the voice, to me, it kind of finds itself. And to me, it's confidence. It's all in your confidence. When you get to the point where you walk out there and go, I'm not worried about how I'm going to do. I'm commanding this room. I'm in charge of this group when I get up there, and I fully know it. You know what I mean? And that's just a lot of shows, a lot of shows. But when you get there, it's hard to have a voice until you're there.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're always a slight bit tentative. You're a slight bit of, I hope they like me. I hope this works. I hope this goes well. That went well. Good. Okay, cool. So you're kind of like, okay, that's good. That's good. And even on your best shows, you're kind of like, there's always that thing of, that went well. Good. Okay, good. So there's that thing of you're kind of monitoring yourself a little bit of good. Okay. All right. You know, kind of a deal. Rather than walking up there and going, that's not even in my head. I am rocking this place, and if I don't, I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know those shows can happen. We all know those shows can happen to anybody at any point of your career.
Yeah.
You can get an audience you just don't connect with, but still, you walk out there and you go, I'm big, I'm in charge, totally. The whole time, no matter whatever happens, I am totally in charge, and everything I deliver is with that confidence, is with that ballsy.
Yeah.
You love me, and you know you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love
and
that.
you just really, until you get there, it's tough to find a voice because you can't be committed 100% because you're not there, you know. And that's where I go. I just think your voice finds you because you get to that point, and then when you get to that point, then there's like that year or so that goes by where it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Right.
You get more confident. Then you are more and more and more Tiffany, less Mike. You're you. You are you, and you know, and you're just rock solid in it, you know. But it takes time. It does.
Yeah.
I tell people, they go, how long? I said, I think from what I've seen people headline in less than 10 years. I've seen people headline in 5 or 6 years. But that's the...
Yeah, like JB Ball and I started at around the same
Yeah.
time. I think he might have started a little bit after, but yeah, there's some guys that charge ahead, like him and Cam Bertrand. They've
There's
definitely.
a few. They're not the, but see, I wouldn't headline Cam here.
No.
Yeah,
not ready.
JB, we co-headlined,
Yeah.
and then he moved on up. He moved kind of quick. Shane Moss moved quick. Sinbad moved the fastest of anybody I've ever
Really?
seen. He was so incredibly charming on stage that he just and plus he's 6'6" and he's good looking and he's just he's just big and he's just the sweetest. He just had that charm.
Fun. He's so fun.
fun.
Like, he
He's
really
fun.
is.
And even he was winning over audiences without material.
Wow.
He was just so charming and charismatic. But But I think it takes 10 years. I think to be a headliner and a solid headliner. So if you think about that, same amount of time as it takes to get a PhD.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
10 years.
The master thing. Have you read that? Where it's like it's 10,000 hours.
Right.
It's about the same thing. 10,000
right.
hours.
10,000 of anything.
Master.
Yeah, to be a master.
But
But you figure it's 4 years to get your degree, 2 more years to get your master's degree, and then usually at least another 2 to 4 to get your doctorate.
And to your point,
comedy's that way.
It seems like people are rushing that.
Yeah,
like they're
they
trying
are.
to speed that up because
Well,
they're
that's
like,
how kids are
millennials
nowadays.
now. You don't want to work for anything.
Yeah, kids do that. Like I teach martial arts,
Yeah.
and I'll get kids. When do I get my next belt? When do I get my? I'm like, let it simmer.
Yeah.
Like you got to be.
Yeah.
You're not gonna just get a black belt tomorrow. But this new generation, and even the kids that are in their like early 20s, they're in a rush. I don't know why.
It doesn't matter. You can be in a rush as much as you want. And all you're going to do is you're going to convince yourself that you're a headliner, but you're not.
Yeah.
And when you're not, you're not. You can't just be a headliner because you can stand on the stage for 50 minutes and talk.
Right.
And there's a bunch of those acts that go, I've done 50 minutes. I go, yeah, talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Talking, but where have you headlined?
Yeah, exactly.
Moe's Bar and Grill?
Exactly. Yeah.
You 10 of those? I mean, of course, you're not a headliner.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've had so many. There for a little while, I started, because we mostly use for middles, people that live within 4 hours of here, because we have a wealth of people that live 4 hours here to cover those spots. And I don't mind. I don't mind having a middle twice a year, maybe even 3 times a year. And so I was like, let's get some new blood in here. So I started booking out of town middles for a couple of years. I don't think I repeated any of them.
Really?
And these people had really good resumes. They work for the Comedy Zones and some A clubs here and there, or they're out of a region and they're working in. And I'm like, they walk up there, I'm watching their set, and I go, they're doing the 20 minutes, 25 minutes I'm asking them to do. They only have 10 minutes of material. Real material. Like real tried and true. They're doing material, but it doesn't work. It's not, there's no consistency
it's funny
at
you
all.
say that, because I feel like sometimes the headliners that are big celebrities, they'll bring a feature with them. And I've seen that, and the feature only does like 15 minutes. And I mean, I know that's what I'm doing, but like to be a feature and travel on, you think, you're going to be doing a lot of time, because normally we do 25 a lot of times. And and I was like, wow, that's all you're going to do? Yeah, that's about all the material I have. I'm like, really? And you're like going around with a freaking celebrity? Like, what? Where is that sign up sheet? Not that I would do that, because again, I'm one of those people that are like, I don't want to go ahead of myself, but still, I'm like, how is that happening?
Because you are basing yourself out of a club in New York or L.A. where celebrities work all the time.
Right.
And what you've been smart enough to do is that whenever you get on stage, you're consistent. And remember, in L.A. and New York, you only do 10, 15 minutes.
I know, yeah.
That's all the sets. That's
right.
all the time they give you. So you're consistent. You do well. You're always solid. And you hang out. And you meet the headliners.
Right.
You meet them, and you just meet them. You're not pushing anything. You're just but you're meeting, and you're trying to get to be friends. I mean, in a true basis.
Yeah.
And if I'm a headliner and I can pick who tours with me, I want somebody I like.
Right.
Yeah.
That I like to hang out with. That can do a solid job. I know what they're going to do. They're consistent.
Right.
Their stuff does not step on my stuff at all. It sets me up well. Perfect.
They help me with my merch. That's a big thing I noticed too, that they have them do all the merch stuff for them.
That's right. And that's it. And
that's great.
Hooking up with a headliner, because let me tell you, it doesn't take a celebrity. Almost any headliner that I book that says, "Hey, I've got a middle that I'd like to bring," it's rare that we don't say okay.
Right. Well, I have to say, Chris Gorgeous.
Yes.
So him and I were doing the podcast together that we did, and I noticed he was only headlining, like he was only going out and doing shows like maybe once a month, not even, because he was busy with his family and stuff. But I was like, dude, you're so good. And he's like, yeah, they don't really know who I am. So I'm like, I know how to do business stuff. I'm like, I'll email bookers for you. I'll do all this stuff, but let me feature for you. And that's really what kind of got me out featuring and regularly and stuff. But I would email the bonkers bookers. I do a lot of his emails for him. But that helped me. So sometimes I tell that to like the people that want to be featured and stuff. Like, get a headliner and help him. If you help him, I helped Chris design. I was like, you need T-shirts because like I'm friends with Orny Adams, like I told you earlier, and I knew from hanging out with him and helping him with his merch. I'm like, you need T-shirts, you need this, you need that. So I kind of tried to set up Chris with all that, but it really helped me because there was another comedian who was like, oh, he should pay you. I'm like, I'm getting plenty of payment from this. You know, I'm getting opportunities and meeting, and now I get booked at the clubs without Chris a lot sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I got the connection, so I was like. You know, so for these guys with a celebrity, that's a whole different level with it, obviously.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it really helps to link up with a headliner that you know is good, that delivers, because Chris does deliver. And, yeah. I mean, you don't want to get a headliner that you don't think is good, because then it's, like, hard to be like, oh, my headliner's really good.
No. Yeah, you want somebody you admire.
Right.
You know, that you
learn from.
that you go, man, that you look up to and admire. You admire their show and what they do. But no, I mean, we've talked about that as club owners, that nowadays that's the way you get into clubs. You either it's because you're in that region, so they're seeing you all the time, or it's a reference from a club owner from your region that's respected, or a comedian picks you up and goes, shoot, I love what you're doing, and I like hanging out with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we go to skate parks.
And sometimes you're out. Sometimes you have a hotel room, but sometimes you have a condo. Right. Well, I gotta live with this person for 5 days. You know what I mean? I don't want any surprises. Just soon be with you.
Like, you don't seem stinky. That was my. I'm like you don't seem stinky and you don't seem creepy. So I guess I'm like, if you're gonna be taking your shoes off in the car, I want a pleasant smell to happen. Okay.
Right. There you go. Absolutely.
I remember Dean Napolitano. He came in for the New Year's stuff, and you threw me up on stage as the waiter. Remember, I came up with the
yeah, he did.
That was bizarre, by the way. I did my thing, and he comes up and he's like, "Oh, that was fun," and me and him started hitting off, and we hung out like the whole week basically. And then he's like, "Yo, you should come in. I'll next time I do a show myself, I'd love to have you on." All this stuff, and he goes, "You can do like a solid 30, right?" And I looked at him and I was like, I could do 20 soft. You know what I mean? And like, I was just honest with him. And he goes, you know what, kid, just for being honest with me, he's like, I like you even more now. He's like, I'm glad you didn't try to blow smoke up my ass. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do 45 easily, bro. I'm a headliner. And he's like, don't be an asshole. No. He's like, good job.
Always tell the truth.
Be truthful. Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, I can do 20 maybe.
Years ago, when Amy Schumer came in the top 5 of Last Comic Standing, she didn't win it. You came in the top 5, right?
Right.
So, and it was first or second season, I remember. It was something like that. So we were all watching it. And I just fell in love with her. But not her stage act. Off stage.
Right.
It was her off stage was where I go, she's funnier off stage than she is on stage. That's because she hadn't found her voice yet. That's because, and why you haven't gotten to the confidence to where you can stand up there and just be, because you're naked when you're you know, and she hadn't gotten there. But I go, that girl's good. Yeah. And I knew she could sell tickets because she got in that top 5. I think she was the only female, you know, and she had that, same as she does now, that sarcastic, you know, thing about her. And she was pretty. And so I booked her. So I had a couple of club owners call me and said, I saw you have Amy. She can't do more than 20, 25 minutes. Oh. And she just doesn't have it. She's only been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So I said, I don't care. I said, I'll work. What I'll do is I'll do 30. I'll put a middle in to do 30. Let her do 30. We'll do 30, 30, 30. And it'll be fine. And so I picked her up at the airport, and we exchanged our little pleasantries. And I said, hey, Amy, when I ask you this, I want us to get off on the right foot, and I want you to have a great time here. I don't want you trying to do something that you're not prepared to do. How much time are you really, really comfortable doing? And she said 25. I mean, she had no bones about it. She said about 25 minutes. I go, cool. Just do your 25. And I mean, if that rolls to 30 and you're having fun with the crowd, obviously. But I said, I don't want you trying to cover time.
Yeah.
I want you to go. And I said, you're hilarious. And you're going to one day figure out how to be as hilarious as you are on stage. You hadn't quite figured that out yet. But that's what I told her. I said, you're just funny. You're just a funny person. And
She
so.
has a good eye.
Oh yeah.
So then I said, you ever done improv before? She goes, nope. I said, would you? She goes, yeah, I'll do whatever. Because you can imagine, ain't she's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. You'll do it? You'll do it, old man? I'll do it if you'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, it's easy, Amy. We'll do a fill in the blank. We just get into a scene. We get words from the crowd. We throw them in when we're in our scene, and we just do a scene. And then we do another one where we tell a story, and we just swap it back and forth and tell a story. She's like, all over it. I said, okay. She went up. She did her 25. Me and her did 2 improvs. Both of them would always last about 10 minutes each. Perfect set. Killed every time.
Nice.
We had a blast. She came in the second time. We did the same thing. Third time she came in, I pick her up, and she goes, hey, Les, I got it. I got it. I said, but I like doing the improv. She goes, I know you do, but I got it.
That's great. I love it. That's such a great story.
That's amazing. Man.
And she did,
It's such a great story.
And Amy always out of the, I think she came in the full week, or maybe she just a weekend, but she'd do 5 or 6 shows.
Yeah.
She'd always have one bad show.
Yeah.
Only one.
Always.
But she'd always get up there, and
Was it like a early show or a late show?
it could be, it was hard to tell.
Wow. Okay.
She would get one crowd,
Jinx crowd.
and she would walk up there, and it was just one of those with the way she is, and she's a woman, and she's ballsy, and it just would rub that crowd the wrong way.
Right.
And she, right off the bat, and of course her being her, she doesn't back off.
No.
And she doesn't back off. It's like, I rubbed you the wrong way. She would comment on something along the lines, oh, it looks like we've gotten off on a bad foot. Well, this is going to get extremely worse unless you guys loosen the fuck up.
That's
You know what I mean? And she doesn't back off. She had found her voice, and that's that point where you'll have a bad show. Sometimes somebody at that level, because audience, and she goes, I'm not changing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's that celebrity voice you talked about.
You can't be branded. You can't be a celebrity if you're not consistent.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent. And that's the hardest thing I think about that celebrities go through to become a celebrity, is that you have to be dedicated to that show. And if you get an audience that doesn't click with, you're just going to have a bad show. Because you're going, I'm not telling jokes now for 30 minutes. I'm doing this because I'm trying to find my crowd. If you're not my crowd, you'll never come see me again. I want to make sure you never come see me again. You know what I mean? I want to make 100% sure, because I'm looking for my people, and that's it. But it takes a lot more guts to do that.
Yeah,
because you're going to have, especially when you're developing, you're going to have some shows where you're going, in the first 5 minutes, you go, this is going to be a rough fucking 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You already know it.
It's going to be a long 30 minutes.
It's going to be a long 30. But you're going, but I got to stick to my guns and hope maybe I'll get them somewhere along the lines. But, that can be rough, know. But that's what you got to do to be a celebrity. Yeah. In my opinion,
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's like one reason kind of to become a celebrity. I really like how, like, what I say to someone the other day, because I have a lot of little eccentric stuff that I do. You know what I mean? That kind of like I Perel a lot and different. I don't, although that shouldn't be that, but
you do what?
Perel, like hand sanitizer, and just like little things that I do. But I was like, Howie Mandel doesn't like to have his hand shake, but he's like to be touched. I'm like, when I can get to that point where like people are like, that's just how that person is.
Yeah, he's
like
not
that.
rude.
That's why it's worth being a celebrity, is that kind of thing. People kind of let you do your deal. Like you're so important that you get to do your deal.
Yes. Well, and once you've developed your audience, you do get to do your deal.
You get to do your deal
because they know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah.
There's no There's no guesswork to it. You go when you go see a celebrity, you're not wondering what their show's going to be like.
Yeah,
you know what their show's going to be like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that. Well, as an example again with Amy, when she came to Tampa a little while back, and she made some statement about Tampa. You know, she slammed Tampa a little bit. You know, and they got all offended.
I know.
And I was like, does any fucking body here watch her show?
I know.
I mean, that was
It was coming. It was coming.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's her.
ridiculous.
That's her. You know, I mean, you shitting me?
How are you surprised? Yeah, don't be surprised by that.
Exactly. How are you surprised?
She's from Florida, right? Amy?
No, she's New York.
New York? Oh.
I
Yeah,
think.
she's definitely
New York girl.
I mean, I'm not 100%, but
I'm
No,
terrible
no,
at that.
I feel
because
like she-
I think it's new. Because I think the story is her family, and she's told,
yeah.
were well-to-do growing up, and then her dad got really sick. He got like, I don't know, multiple sclerosis or something. He got really sick, and he was the one making all the money. And they went from Long Island, living in the big house, to you know, just living month to month kind
it's
of
like the
a thing.
opposite of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Like the reverse.
She's got some kind of story like that,
Wow.
you know. But I think Chuck Schumer is like her uncle or something like that. I believe related. I believe.
I heard something that she went to the same like Hebrew school as Jeff Ross or something like that. That could be. They all like she just kind of grew up in that comedy field a little bit. But.
Yeah, it's very cool. Did you see that guy? Well, you were back here. Did you see that guy that was eating on the stage? That was hilarious. I had to comment on it. This guy actually got like nachos.
He put them on the
and
stage?
put it on the stage and was eating. And I was like,
That
I had
used to piss me off as security. I would get so mad
I was
at
like,
that.
At what age at what age did you like turn that you decided I don't care? Like, like I'm gonna put my food.
This isn't
I'm gonna
rude.
do whatever I want. Like this has to be like a 60-something-year-old guy thing where
I'd
all
have
of a sudden you
people-
decide to do that.
When I was security, you had people put buckets of beer on the stage and just like grab right from him. I'm watching Les like eye it, kind of like he's not gonna like address him as he absolutely has to. I have to go over there and be like, hey man, get the fucking beer off the stage, dickhead.
That's what he did. He put his drink on the stage and his food.
not your
I
table.
thought it was funny, but I was just like, what's happening? What's happening right now?
No, yeah, that's the worst. Security's a weird thing to do here. I mean, I like it because we really do make sure that if you're an asshole, you're getting the fuck out. Like, you're not going to ruin the show for anybody else. And that's my favorite part.
I had, I think Chris was in the show. I can't remember. Someone was in the show, and they wanted me to take pictures of them while they were on stage, so I was in the back taking pictures.
Yeah.
And there was no audience behind me, but I was like, and one of the security guys came up, and he was like, you can't take pictures? I was like, oh, but I'm doing it for him. He's like, like he was super suspicious about it. I'm like, no, I'm friends with
I've
him.
had that before.
Don't worry.
Well, it's so funny. Like they always have like
Chuck Schumer is
Oh, he's Googling
Amy
it.
Schumer's father's cousin,
wow.
so they are related.
Okay.
She gets a Christmas card basically.
What?
She gets a Christmas card every once in a while, at least. So.
She's probably been in the White House more than he has.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
When's the last time you went in the White House, Uncle Chuck?
See, I have this one like my grandma married into like a hillbilly side of the family, which my great grandma was always so upset about. But I have this one lady named Doretta who comes to comedy shows, like out when we do shows in Ocala, and she's like, Tiffany's my cousin. I'm like, I've seen you like one time ever in my life, but she comes from that hillbilly side of the family.
Right,
but
right.
she's told all the comedians, do you know Tiffany Barbee? All the comedians that go through there, do you know Tiffany Barbee? She's my cousin.
Like she's
And
proud
like,
of you. She's
I'll have like Adam Murray and stuff will text me, and he'll be like, I met your cousin. I'm like, shut up. Mike Hurley, Dean Napolitano. So I'm talking to your cousin right now. I'm like, no. I'm like, she's not. She is my cousin, but not like we didn't eat Thanksgiving together.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, because she has like, what's the Joe Dirt? A mullet. She has like a mullet and everything. Like, she's that ridiculous.
wow.
Like, they're
female
goat
mullet,
farmers. Like, I mean,
Who is that?
My cousin. Just because we're talking about how like kind of distant relatives.
yeah.
But yeah, like so, it's like my mom's cousin, because my grandma married the hillbillies, is what I was just telling him.
Right.
And like kind of brought this blood in. So this lady, she's got like a mullet and everything, and she comes out to Ocala. I've met her like 1 or 2 times in my whole life. Tiffany's my cousin. Tiffany's my cousin. She knows every comedian that travels through there, Dean Napolitano, all those guys, and they'll text me and they'll be like, yeah, your cousin. So I'm like, like she's not like, okay, she is my cousin, but we've never had Thanksgiving together. We've never hung out before. I'm like, so I guess cousin, but I'm like, please stop telling people that, because she. I mean, it would be one thing, you know, but.
She's proud of you, Tiffany.
She really is, but she has a mullet and everything, and I'm just like,
maybe you should do a mullet.
I guess.
And meet up with her.
I feel so bad, but at the same time, I'm like, stop telling everybody.
Either that, or y'all need to spend the night one night, and you have a hair night. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Do girls do that anymore?
A hair night?
We just spend the night and we do each other's hair and nails and shit.
I would not like that. I'm not that kind of girl.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of girl. My hair is I woke up like this.
So you're working on like your left hook and everything.
My nails are like short. I am not a good girl.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have hairspray. I don't have a blow dryer.
Really?
I don't have any kind of hair brush. I just have a brush in my head. That's how it goes.
That's all you need sometimes.
That's all material for you.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's so much stuff I could talk about, but it's so hard. It's almost one of those things where you're like kind of so overwhelmed and you have so many different things that you're like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of branching out.
That's what I've run into. I like
Talking about you is good, though.
Yeah.
On stage. I mean, that, you know, enough to where the audience gets to know you, you know, or feels like they know you. I mean, just like when DL was in here, he did a lot of political stuff and this and the other, but there was a whole chunk of his show, about 20 minutes, that was about DL. You know, his family, how he grew up, his kids, you know, and you
connect with them a little bit.
Absolutely. That's when the show begins to have that flavor of, there's parts of the show that are definitely presentational, but and it really all is, and for real. But it is neat when the show begins to seem to take on a conversation with the audience.
Yeah.
You're not wanting an exchange from them, and we've seen it. You've seen it too, probably. I've seen comics get into that with an audience, where the audience gets so relaxed with them that they begin
start talking to them.
To talk to them.
Full on conversation.
And the comic has to, at a point, go, although, see, when Sinbad gets on stage, because every one of his shows are inherently different from the next.
It really is. It's
That's
weird.
great.
It's so crazy.
Because he creates a conversation with the audience.
Yeah.
He goes out, he opens, and he does material, and then he picks a subject matter, maybe 2, that are going to be the theme of the show. And he starts going into the audience, and he's not picking on anybody. It's just, what do you think? What do you think? Have you ever done that? Have you ever done, you know?
Is he doing improv?
And
at
they
that point?
start talking to him.
Is he just doing improv? Like, is he just responding? Because it seems like
It's
he is
material. He has a wealth of material in his head.
material.
He's literally got hours of material in his head that he can draw from. So he's not just up there improvising, but he is allowing it to just flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And within it, he's not dedicated to, I have to do it exactly this way every time. He goes, I can get to that punchline a few different ways.
He does. He's amazing.
You know what I mean? I can get there.
Really is.
I know where it is, and I know how to get there, and I might take this path, and I might take that path, you know. But again, I'm talking about the guy that I think is one of the most underrated comics ever.
Sounds like
I think he is as brilliant as anybody.
I didn't believe it until he came here the first time. I was like, I think I was 2 weeks into working here, and I had to work one of his shows. I was doing security, and he comes out. He does 2 hours flat himself, and to the point where Pam had to come on stage and be like, hey, we got another show. Like, you have to get off the fucking stage. And he made a quick joke about that. And he goes, all right, boss lady says something. And he gets up, runs off stage, comes back out, and does an additional 2.5 hours a second show. And, like, I would have to say, like, at least 70% of it was completely different from the first show. And I was like,
wow.
Who the fuck
I've told
would
this
do
story
that?
a million times, but I go, went up. I hadn't seen him in years. So we all started together down here in Florida. He was one of the Florida comics.
Yeah.
We all started in this Tampa Bay area. and but he was the guy that shook up the headliner way faster than anybody else. So I hadn't seen him in years, and by this point he's famous. I mean, you know, he's been on Cosby, he's had his own show, he's been in all the movies, So I forget how we hooked back up, but Linda Garcia, who actually is still our bookkeeper, Linda was his first manager.
That's awesome.
She ran the first comedy club in Sarasota that I worked at. She was the manager.
No shit.
And then she had a few comics that she was managing, you know, how club owners or you know. Anyway, so she was close with him. So I find out that he's playing Pleasure Island at Disney, which doesn't exist anymore. But you
I
remember
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure
was
Island,
nice.
right?
That was
Disney
fun.
opened up their bar area, right? So we find out. I call Linda. Linda gets in touch with him, and so we ride up there. So we're backstage, and me and Linda and just a couple other people, and a famous basketball player, NBA guy named Dominique Wilkins, great basketball player, was with Sinbad, was one of his buddies. And so the show he was doing was in an amphitheater outdoors. So we already know how hard that is. Outdoor amphitheater, 5,000 people standing in front. And it's Disney. So it's 5-year-old kids, teenagers, mom, pop, grandma, grandpa. I mean, there's the dynamic. And he did about an hour and 15 minutes, hour 20 minutes. And you're sitting there looking at the crowd. You're watching a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid laughing at what he's doing, and so is the teenager, and so is grandpa.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's wow. You're going, wow. And so he leaves the stage. He's got a second show. So, and there was like an hour break to let everybody leave and then let the next crowd come in. But it's just whoever's there. It's just open. If you're in the park, you can go. So about 15 minutes before the show starts, the stage manager comes back and said, I just want to let you know nobody left. And now instead of 5,000 people, there's about 8,000 people out there.
Yeah.
But most of them
I'm getting goosebumps.
stayed. They're here from the first. They stayed, right? And he goes, okay. And like I say, he walked back out to that stage, did an hour and a half, totally different,
Wow.
with kids,
Wow.
Yeah.
with children,
Wow.
and made everybody laugh. And we were standing in the wings, the 5 or 6 of us, and we were going. There were 3 comics, Linda and Dominique, and we're going, what comedian can pull that? Let's name the
Right.
comedians that can pull off what he's doing right now.
He sounds like he's better than Bill
And
Cosby.
well, we said Cosby was the only one we could think of that could do it.
Pull it off.
We went, Robin Williams couldn't stay clean long enough.
No.
Billy Crystal could do it if he had an orchestra.
Yeah.
If he had like a full orchestra, I think he could maybe do it.
Yeah.
But you're going, he stands on his own. There's who else is there? And that's how good that guy is.
Unbelievable.
And he's still that good.
I think it's because
I
he's
wanna
so
come see him now
relatable.
next time.
If everything works out, hopefully it's about time for him to come back in the next year. You know,
Sounds great.
January, February. Anytime you get a chance to see him,
Yeah, for real.
As a comedian, you want to watch.
It's like you're coming in
him.
for the master
And
class.
if
Yeah.
he has more than one show, you definitely want to watch him do multiple shows.
Yeah, you'll see what I'm
That's
talking about.
the thing to
Oh,
see.
man, I'm
is
so
to
jealous
see.
of both
Thoroughly
of you.
entertaining all the way through. It's
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
Charm, charisma, stage presence, confidence. I mean, that guy.
I really do
is-
think though it's because it's so
Hey.
relatable. Like you were saying, like the kids laughing, the teenagers laughing, the moms laughing, the grandparents laughing. It's like I think they can all see him, like they all can put him in their life somewhere. Like
Yeah.
for me, he's like an uncle. He's trying to teach you shit.
Yes.
You dumbass. Come on, follow me. You freaking. You
And
know,
the thing
you
about it
idiot.
is, Cosby
Like,
could do that.
yeah,
And
saw.
Cosby was his mentor.
Yeah.
You know, that was who he.
Oh,
Cosby
that's
discovered him, put him on his show. Bill Cosby was
Mentored a lot of people.
was the guy that put
makes sense.
Sinbad on the map. You
Yeah.
know, and so he, you know, of course, he.
Is that
and-
why he doesn't curse? Is that why he?
What's
stays,
that?
Is that why he stays 100% clean? I know.
You know
Cosby
what?
was like
You know
that.
what he told me? He goes, when I first started working, I wasn't clean, but then I realized, especially as a black comedian, there other than Cosby, no black comedians are working clean.
Right.
So I'm just, if I'm not working clean, I'm
Yeah.
just another one of the guys out there
Right.
doing kind
That's
of that
smart.
thing. And he goes, and I felt comfortable working clean. You know, I didn't feel uncomfortable. I was like, most of my bits were not reliant on profanity to get the
No.
laugh.
Never.
You know, and he goes, and he studied Cosby, and you know, and he goes, it was within my nature.
Yeah.
You know, to be that way. And he goes, and I knew that's how I'd set myself apart. You know, and
That's
he did.
amazing, yeah.
He
Smart.
did. And that's what Cosby
He is.
noticed about him. He's brilliant and he's clean.
Incredible.
You
yeah.
know.
And he really does have ADD. Like that's a big part of it.
Yes.
His ADD, like you can tell his mind is just going. 100
Oh,
miles
God,
an hour
yeah.
Everywhere,
He's flying.
Everywhere. He can't stop in one spot. It's
Uh-huh.
amazing. Yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's just a good human being.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that was funny. We were talking about the reality show that he was doing, and they're like, we need more drama. We need more.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
horror. Like we need.
He
like,
tried to do a
situation.
reality show about his family. They, you know, I mean, it was set. They were gonna follow his family, and what about 3 episodes in, they went, and he wanted to set their family up as a role model for a good family in a reality show, and the producers go,
Yeah.
"No, man, this isn't gonna sell.
Yeah.
We need drama.
Right.
We
Your
need at least
daughter,
a divorce
your
at the
daughter
end of
needs
this."
to be rebellious. You and your wife need to have problems. You know, he's like,
Sad,
I ain't
isn't
doing-
it?
I ain't
It's
doing
kinda
that
sad.
shit.
Sad
like
that that's
the
the only thing that
drama.
sells. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a beer.
All right.
Anybody want anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I think you got about 5 minutes before he wraps it up. Anyway.
He's doing great.
Come on, Florida State.
Oh no, he's still got another 15.
My condo community where I live, we're all doing the March Madness thing. We had to fill out a
The
thing and put
brackets and
$10 in, and
Yeah. I don't know anybody. I don't know the teams
I
well
don't.
enough.
I don't really care for college basketball. I like the NBA.
Really? It's usually the opposite, I find.
Really?
Most
No,
people
I
love
love the
college
NBA.
basketball. Yeah.
I mean, I've always since the Dream Team back in '92.
I think it's the most watched sport in America right now is NBA basketball.
Really?
That's what I said the
good to
same thing.
hear.
I was like,
I don't know why. Why? Because of the whole football knee thing or whatever that people switched or something.
maybe. Do you mean like the head trauma stuff with football and everything? That was a dangerous game. I think it's probably because you have more superstars. You just have more exciting
Right.
superstars constantly going head to head.
I don't like LeBron James though.
No?
No. That's like in the Patriots, you know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't like it when people win all the time. That sounds
Yeah.
terrible,
No,
but you know,
it's-
it just takes the fun out of it.
You root for the underdog. I get
Yeah,
it.
like I don't like it when the fun's taken out, where it's like, I wonder who's gonna win.
I'll be honest, the last Super Bowl, not only was it a non-exciting game, it wasn't exciting, but it was deflating. Like just watching them win again.
It's so funny. I can't even remember who they played against.
Patriots versus
Was it the Colts?
no,
Did I see? I don't even know. Just because it was so.
I can't think of them either. It was so it just wasn't memorable. But like watching them win again, it was just like I remember like the whole week sucked. Like it just deflated everything. I was
Right.
excited. Super Bowl week, it's fun. The game was terrible to watch. Wasn't even fun to watch. And then it's just like I remember like the rest of the week was just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do anything. No, this is
Yeah, it
boring.
was sad. How long have you been
depressing.
doing comedy? I feel like we might have talked about this, but I can't remember because I met so many people between now and then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Last time you were, I think I did like a little guest spot or something. Or was I?
No, I
hosting?
just came here to watch Chris
Yeah.
because I had the weekend off, and I was like, oh, I'll come. And then sometimes, I mean, I'm lucky that I work almost every weekend. So when I get a weekend off, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't need to go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just coming to support a
That's
friend.
nice,
but
though. That's
you were
nice.
in it, and
I think I
remember
was
we
hosting.
talked.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're hosting.
August I'll be 2 years. 2 years doing it. Yeah, so.
That's really good. So you're kind of like in that group where you probably see everyone, all your peers, trying to be like, I'm a feature, I'm a headliner, I'm this.
Yeah, I when you said that, it resonated with me because I remember like thinking like that's crazy.
We were never like that. My group, I can't even think. The only people that are really left from my group are JB Ball, and he was actually after.
Yeah.
Me, I can't even think of anyone else that you would probably know.
Right.
But yeah, like our group. I mean, every group is funny to watch each generation come up because I mean, I know that sounds weird to say generation, but like every 2 years, it's a group of kids, and a lot of times I don't even learn most of their names. I don't meet most of them, but when I do, I'm kind of like, we'll see who's gonna last. Only like two or three might last from each group,
right.
And they just kind of like fade off. The other ones give up, you know.
Happens,
but everyone comes off so like cocky now, and so and so I'm so great. They
have like one good open mic set and they think they're on top of the world, and it's like.
But you're just entertaining other comedians. So here's the thing: you get a lot of girls that are talking about their, you know, crotch area.
Yeah, of course.
And then you got the guys talking, and of course that's funny to your peers. But is it going to be funny to those people that are out there?
Yeah,
and the audience.
Don't want to play to comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did a show at the Improv called "Chicks Are Funny," and every single woman in the show besides me said the P word. I don't even like to say it unless I'm like boning.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Unless I'm being romantic.
If I'm being romantic,
I'll say the P word.
You went boning to romantic. I love.
If I'm being romantic, I might say the P word.
Well, yeah.
I don't even feel like. But yeah, it rhymes with wussy and it starts with the P.
Yeah, exactly.
But every single girl said it. And they talked about like the masturbating and stuff, and I was like, "Jeez."
I feel like
"Oh, jeez."
They're trying to follow like a mold, like they're trying to.
But even listen, it's okay to be dirty. There's a lot of successful comedians that are dirty.
But you can still be original.
But it was just weird that every single one of them went that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the easier road. It's easy to get laughs when you're talking to your friends, even when you're a little kid. You're like, you know, like little boys, like my wiener.
Yeah.
You know?
What's that a bad word? Yeah.
I'm actually trying to be clean. Like I'm actually anything new that I write, I'm trying to make it be clean because I feel like almost like the same thing he said about Sinbad, just about
set yourself apart. Well, there you go.
Yeah, like I could be one of the
clean
female. I mean, I'm actually one of like side splitters. When Jamie Kennedy was like, "I want a female," they're like, Tiffany, because it's like, who else can we think of?
That's great.
You know, at certain places.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, if I add clean to it, although I had one headliner that I worked with at the Carolina Comedy Club, and I heard him talking on his phone because the comedy condo had such thin walls, and he said, "I really like my feature. She's really funny, but she's not dirty at all." I'm cutesy dirty.
You're edgy.
Yeah, I'm cutesy dirty. Like I kind of, you know, skirt. Like anything that I say is dirty is usually it came out of my mom's
What do you
mouth.
mean, like cursing or stuff like that? Or are you talking about edginess,
like just
riskiness, sexuality?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but he was like, so I wish she was a little more dirty. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know.
Yeah,
like I'm trying. Like some people are like, I wish you were cleaner. I wish you were dirtier. I'm like, what do? I feel like I'm like Goldilocks or something.
Yeah.
Like,
this club's just the right amount of dirt. Yeah. I don't know. I think that like JB, for instance.
Very funny.
He's also just an awesome dude. Like he pays it forward in comedy. He taught me that. He was like, if you're gonna do it, just pay it forward. Like don't look for a return, especially when you're first starting out. You're not gonna see it.
Well, he's so funny because he came out in our group.
Yeah.
Most of us didn't like him because he came out super cocky. Like he came out like, I'm gonna be the best.
Yeah.
I'm better than you guys. Like he almost did like what the kids are doing now with the entitlement. He had it, but it worked for him.
Yeah, it's
great.
Very competitive. Yeah.
You know, like Orny Adams, he comes off as cocky. Like he says one of his biggest regrets is that he was so cocky in the beginning. But you know what? Everything he said in that comedian documentary that he did has come to true.
Yeah.
Everything he said that I want to be a celebrity. He has gotten to the level where me and him were hanging out in St. Augustine, and kids were chasing us around with their phones trying to take pictures for Twitter and stuff.
That's awesome.
Like, he got to everything he said about he wants people to approach him while he's eating. I saw that happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes when you say those things, it's almost like when people make the goal charts on the wall, whatever they're called, I don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, when they make,
like the dream chart or something
like that. Kind of, like, when you talk big like JB Ball.
Right.
I think sometimes it
manifest
works.
destiny
Yeah,
sort
it
of
comes
thing.
true. Like
I think so. Yeah.
Like so, it's a good thing. I can't do it because of the martial arts background. Like it's all about being humble and stuff.
I'm humble too. I mean,
I'm too humble. Like
it's a problem.
I
yeah.
don't take compliments well. Like if someone compliments me, like I'm like if someone in the audience says, "Oh, you were very funny," I'm like, "Well, you were a really good audience member. I couldn't have
You're
done
better
it
than me
without you being in the audience."
right.
Like I try to deflect.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily, though. Like, I think you can be humble and still be great. Like Sinbad's another example. He's underrated, but like he's very humble. He's very nice.
I really want to see him.
Like look at like Nate Bargatze. Couldn't be more of a humble person. He's also clean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
think being clean's good. Are you clean?
I
I can't remember. I feel like
curse.
you are. I feel like when
I'm
I
not
heard
crazy
you,
like dirty. I don't like being crazy
You know
dirty.
what's really funny? I don't think cursing is dirty.
I think I've grew up cursing, so
You know what I mean? Like
yeah. It's
I
about
know older people really take offense to it. Like
that's what you have to
I
watch out
remember
for.
me and Chris doing a show in Ocala at the Bonkers.
Right.
Have you ever been there?
I've
huge.
never been to Bonkers.
It's a lot of
no.
older people. You're not sure if you should start calling out bingo numbers or if you should because it's like
Right.
almost feels like that.
I've made that joke a couple times in here, actually.
Or-
Yeah.
But but it's very cafeteria style too, even. You
Oh,
know, so it
okay.
really makes
Oh,
you feel
it
that
feels like a
way.
bingo hall a
Like
little
it
bit?
feels like a bingo hall. But after the show, the old people were like, "Oh my God, we just loved you." Da 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 da. And oh, we didn't like the other guy. He's a little off color. I was like, "What? How is he off color?" I'm like, I talked about old balls. You
Yeah,
know what
that's
I mean?
weird.
I talked about my mom being worried about old balls.
Some people can
And
get away
they're
with
like-
it, though.
They're like, "Well, he said the F word." And I was like, "Really? That's what
Yeah.
made him be off color?" Okay. I'm like, "It's just a word." You know?
It's so weird. I think it changes to where you're at. Probably. I don't know. But I'm trying to curse. I was told like just if you have a curse word, use it like it's like an ace.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just use it. Don't like keep on fucking throwing that word out because it's just gonna lose its power pretty quickly.
Yeah, I really don't say the F word in real life unless like I'm super annoyed or
Right.
like if I'm feeling gangster about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you know how you're like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
like you kind of feel a little gangster, so you
Yeah.
start throwing out the F word. Like even if you're
You're like a
joking around
badass.
and you get
Yeah.
that, and you get the like gangster feeling happening.
One thing I hear a lot, especially just from the newer open micers, is fucking this, fucking that. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like a utterism. It's like a spatial word. They're instead of saying like or they're going fucking this and fucking that. And I'm like, you gotta get rid of that immediately, because it sounds trashy. Like you just don't seem smart either. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying every comic has to be. I mean, every comic should be probably smart, even if you're not playing smart on stage. But you definitely come across like an idiot if you're just every other word's fucking
Right.
and damn and this and like just clean it up. Really, you can be edgy though. You can talk about
This is
all sorts of bad shit.
This is probably the best episode you've done so far, right? No kidding.
Definitely,
There goes the humble thing.
definitely. I love John was on it for like maybe 5 minutes.
Did he talk when I was up?
No.
Really? Oh, he's in the zone.
Yeah,
He
he's one of those guys. I could
Yeah,
tell.
he gets in the zone. Me, I can actually get up like right away. I was actually nervous this weekend,
Yeah.
yesterday especially, just because I've never middled here, and I
Right.
know that it's very important. Like Les is very picky. He only has so many weeks that he can book.
It's hard to get in here, man.
So yeah, and people are always like, "Oh, how do you do McCurdy's?" Like on the way home last night, I had like a couple headliners called me that live out in LA. They're like,
Dude.
"We get into McCurdy's."
Yeah.
Like, you got to do it for yourself. Like I try to help people too. Like you said about JB Ball,
Right.
I'm always the first person to email you. I mean, to send you my email booker list. Like if someone just asks me who books that club, I will say it. I don't
Right.
care if I'm your friend or whatever. I'll
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
"There you
yeah.
go." You know, I love to help, but
Pay it forward, yeah. But you can only do so much.
some people are so It's like I can't,
Yeah.
get you in
No, I know.
a rotation.
People think that I can get him in this
At
fucking club.
Snappers,
It's hilarious.
I could when my friend Bob Burrow was booking Snappers, and that's why they asked me because I got them into Snappers. I'm
Of
like, I
course,
don't.
right.
That's done now. Bob's not booking there anymore. I don't have any power anywhere. I'm just
No.
doing my thing.
People assume that they do. I mean, just from working the door, people thought that I could get them on the open mic.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, I can't get anybody I can't get myself on the open mic. It's hard. Like,
right, you gotta have the work
Johnny,
ethic.
you know what Johnny Hobbs is like the main host of the open mic. He always busts my balls. Like he's like, no, you're not getting up this week, asshole. You already hosted. I'm like, fuck. Like it's hard to get in this club. It's so perfect. That's why.
Yeah.
It's like Harvard. You know what I mean? We're only as good as many people as we turn away.
Yeah. So this is the
Right.
first time I was nervous in a while.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it made me feel like a little girl again.
I feel like if I'm not nervous before a show, it's gonna go horribly wrong. I've always felt that way.
My greatest teacher said, if you're not nervous, you're not learning.
You're not caring. You don't care.
Well, see, I grew up on stage, though. Like, I was a pageant kid. So, like, when I was 2 years old, I was on a stage.
Oh, wow.
So, to me, like, that part of me, that part of my soul has died.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, those little butterflies were smashed a long time ago. And it's like, I'm just on stage.
Right.
And, yeah, so for me, I don't really get that nervous with the stage thing.
Yeah.
So that part's gone. But, yeah, I don't know. The butterflies, they died.
As soon as I walk out, even if I'm, like, bombing, I'm not nervous then, but it's like beforehand, I'm nervous, you know. It's not like crippling.
Right.
But I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do.
I always feel like the audience, you know, if someone falls off like the trapeze, people love that shit. So if you actually messed up on stage, think about how exciting.
Yeah.
They're like, I went to see this comedy show and the comedian just froze up. And
Yeah.
like it was awesome.
It was like watching a train wreck.
To them, they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? So like, if anything, you're giving them that.
Yeah.
At least.
It's
you know?
entertainment at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Wow, they were laughing so hard.
You a funny man. You a funny man, John Dicrosta.
Look how sweaty he is.
And so
Crushing it.
Fun.
Crushing it like a boss. I didn't get to get a picture of you tonight because we're back here doing this. I said I didn't get to get a picture tonight of you on stage because we're doing this. I want to get a picture of you doing your ending.
Did you do he did the mask, yeah. You ever seen that where he puts the mask on the people and
Oh
makes them sing
yeah.
along
Well,
and
I haven't
shit?
seen him do that, but I've seen other people do that, and that's always really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. He puts it on and they sing and they do their
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I love
That's
that.
funny. It's a nice little gimmick.
It's a great closer for people because you want that standing ovation. The audience loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like what we were talking about earlier that Les was saying that when people do the jokes or things that other people have done, obviously I'm sure John's doing his own take
Right.
on that. That's totally original, even though
Right.
other comedians do it. I'm sure they're all different when they do it. But the audience loves it. So
Yeah.
the nerve of someone to be like, oh, you
Hack.
can't do that because someone else does that. No, guess what? The audience loved it, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I said
That's
they
why he's
put-
right though. If you try to like live your career by like worrying about what other comics think about
Yeah,
you.
you can't.
I mean, just be a nice person, be a good person, but don't like worry about if they think your joke's good or not. Like,
Right.
I remember I was thinking about that. There was some, I'm not gonna mention their name, but like they just didn't like me. Like they just didn't like my material, and I was like, I let it get to me. I was like, why? And I was like, why am I trying to win this dude over? I'm like, I don't give a fuck
That's
about
so
this.
weird
Like,
that
why
they
do I
would
care?
like, yeah.
Yeah, and he like verbally, he was rude. He told me, he was like, I don't like you. I don't think you're funny. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
that's
thought,
uber
but it just
douchey.
goes to show he's not a good comic though. He's not very funny himself. And he's kind of an asshole. So it's like,
Yeah, comedians that are haters are usually the not good.
yeah, they're just mad at their own self.
There's jealousy. It's probably jealousy that you're in more.
Yeah, but I was thinking like, why am I was legitimately thinking like, oh, well, I wonder if I can like tighten this up maybe. Like maybe he doesn't like it this way. I'm like, why? I don't give a fuck. Like, like for about 5 seconds, I found myself doing that, and I was like, wait, no, don't do that.
I
Like,
wonder if I even know who it is.
oh, probably. Yeah.
Oh, I want to know.
This is the worst.
Write
part.
it down on a
This
piece of
always
paper
happens
and
on
shoot it
podcasts.
over.
People are always like, yeah, you fucking.
Write it on a piece of paper. Write it on your hand.
Yeah, when we're
Write
off
it
air.
on your head.
My hair
Shoot
on my,
it over.
shoot my head. Yeah.
Spell it with these pencils. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a great idea, though. Was this your idea?
It was, yeah. Well, Les has always wanted to do something like this, and I was like, we need to do a podcast. And it was actually Lynn Copeland's like concept, kind of like she was like, you should do a podcast while we're hanging out in the green room, and like Les was like, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So we couldn't think of any other real way. Like everything else has kind of been done. We feel like, but this we were trying to capture like what it's like to be like. I wanted to go with it seems kind of tacky, but it's the comedy break room almost.
Right.
Like imagine if we were like at like Best Buy, like they have a break room and everything, like people shooting the shit before they gotta go and clock in for their shift. Like that's kind of how I felt like this was a little
That's
bit.
funny. Well, I mean,
I don't know.
you're so lucky being here because Les really is nicer
Yeah.
and like better than
a majority of the bookers.
Oh,
like he is so friendly.
he really is. Yeah.
He's not.
He's a good
weird.
dude.
I mean, luckily he's got a good team around him too that I think makes him be able to be a little more approachable. Because you go to some clubs and it's not that the booker isn't kind when they get a moment, but they're just bouncing out. Like Marcella, poor Marcella has to bounce. I mean, that's usually what the booker, the owner's doing.
Just putting out fires.
They're bouncing everywhere, just going everywhere, and you don't get a second. So they can kind of come off if you don't know them as
standoffish.
And you're kind of like, oh, can I talk? I don't know. I don't want to stop them in the middle of that. Like, but he's made it so he's so approachable and so kind.
Yeah,
and
he's
fun.
he's a good. Well, I
he's
think
very charismatic, just naturally.
From what I've known about Les too, just before he even got into comedy, he was like a philanthropist basically. He like I think he worked with him and his business partner Ken Sons. I think they worked with like underprivileged kids. Like he's an adopted child. You know what I mean? Like he's a salt of the earth kind of person.
Right.
So I think that makes a good comic and an even better business owner, honestly. Jim, our security guy.
He's good.
You're next, buddy. You're on your neck. Our next guest.
Oh, my back hurts.
Yeah.
My back hurts so bad. I've been helping Chris, actually. Me and some other comedians have been helping him fix up his house. Like, he inherited a house from his grandma. That's basically should have just been knocked over and condemned.
Oh, that's a real bit?
And
like,
we're all
that's
kind
a
of
true story?
like, yeah. And we're all kind of like helping him rebuild it.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I got like a sunburn on my shoulders today, and I was like, I don't want to go today because I want to be at McCurdy's tonight. But then I was like, I'll just go over there for a couple hours and help. But yeah, my back.
Oh yeah, it's hard work.
All right, that's a wrap.
There we
wrap
go.
it up.
Good times, everybody.
That's a wrap. Doesn't look like Florida State's going to pull this off unless they get a rally.
This is the best episode yet.
It
No, I'm kidding. Sorry,
just
DL.
keeps getting better.
I'm sure.
It's a conversation.
It's a
The conversation.
The conversation. And
We
we're
find-
out.
We're out.
Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Go to our website, McCurdy'sComedy.com, to check out all of our upcoming shows and events. Also, check out Tiffany Barbee at TiffanyComedy.com. And look up John Dicrosta on Twitter at John Dicrosta. That's John, Dicrosta. And thank you very much. We'll see you next week.